Oh my God, my leg. Oh, there we go. So anyway, yeah. Apparently we're live. How bad is my internet today?
It's good. Everything looks good so far. I will let you know if it's choppy or chunky. So
that's good to note. Good day, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Beer Review. Breweries United here. Me and Ashley are here. Good day, Ashley.
Good day, sir. Good day.
I heard you pop a can while we were talking off camera. What are you drinking?
I just opened up. This is from our friends at Breakwall Brewing in Port Colborne. This is their, what's it called? Their Peacemaker Brown IPA. This comes
nice.
in. Yeah, Brown IPA. I was off on Thursday. I had a day off and not too many things to do. And I saw that they came out with a few new beers, so I decided to head on over. This is, where's the percentage on this? 6.8%. Yeah. Peacemaker Brown IPA sort of has that roastiness of a black IPA, but a little bit more chocolate, a little bit more caramel, and it sort of follows through with the West Coast bitterness. So it's piney, grapefruity, citrusy, and a little roasty. So it's a very enjoyable beer. You don't see brown IPAs around all that often, so it's nice to get a change of pace.
No, it's 100% true. Now we did try to do this hangout last week. The internet was amazing last week, so I had to give up. So we're gonna do it again. The first beer I'm gonna drink tonight is this one, and I'm gonna. This wasn't even a topic until I picked this beer up. So this is from Henderson Brewing Company. It's Cool in the Pool, and there's the logo, which really we've talked about women in advertising on beers before. I really have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. But my thing is, I find it hysterical that over the last decade, stuff like that has gotten so much throwback and so much anger, but companies still do it. It's just weird to me.
I don't see anything that's not necessarily offensive with that, unless there's like some wording or I'm sorry, what's the name of it again?
Cool in the Pool. So it's
Cool in the Pool.
Not. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just bringing up the fact that I find it hysterical that after a decade we're still doing it. I mean, again, I have no problem with it. I'm a guy that whatever you put on your stuff, if I find it offensive, I just won't buy it, type of thing, right?
Yeah.
But with the culture of outrage, I'm surprised the stuff still happens.
Yeah, like why would you even tempt it?
Yeah, that's all I was saying with this one.
Yeah,
why?
That's fair. Yeah, why even go there, right?
Yeah, it's been a decade now. You know, you've known about this shit going on for a decade. Why still do it?
Yeah, let's just stay on the safe side of the fence and not try to use any subject matter that's. So that is a IPA by the looks of it.
Hazy pale ale, 4.5% alcohol.
Oh, there you go. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's just a nice little beer.
Now, did you get that one from Brian or?
No, that was an Amazing Clubs thing. So that came in the Amazing Clubs pack.
Oh, okay.
I will at one point be turning my camera off because I have a lot of these news articles on my phone and my reading.
Yeah.
So it will be turned off for that reason and that reason alone.
No.
The goopy one is here. Hello, Nanook. Hello. Hello, buddy. How's your paw today? Hey, how's your paw? Oh, still not good. I see you limping around. Awesome.
Step on something.
No, I had a rock thrown at him.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, wasn't it? What do we got for comments going on right now? Who else is being avoided?
That's from Brian Smith.
Hello, Brian. You? Chris. Old Milwaukee dropped the ball when it went retro with Pinup Girls to celebrate its half-century anniversary. Just someone didn't get the memo and they busted it out for their 51st anniversary.
Womp womp.
Oh, God. One of the dogs escaped and the other one got locked in here with me. Oh, God. And it's that one. Come here, Giz. What you doing, boy? What you doing, buddy? I got the husky in here with me, which means something's going to be attempted to be eaten at some point.
Oh, no.
So our conversation last week was going to be about one, the Albino Rhino Beer Festival, because I've had a lot of people asking me about it.
Yep.
And two, breweries and COVID. So first and foremost, the Albino Rhino Beer Festival. Again, I do keep getting people asking me about it. I have not started planning anything. I am sitting here watching what's going on in Ontario and realizing that come next May, there still might not be any real festivals allowed to happen. So I've not put any money or any planning into this thing because I don't want to throw 15 grand down the drain, because that's basically what I'll do if it ends up getting set to a point where you can't do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't done anything yet. I'm waiting to see how things go.
Yeah. Yeah, things certainly aren't trending in the right direction for us here. And but I mean, they will get better eventually, but who knows what the lingering effects and how long those are going to last, right? So
yeah,
definitely a tough position.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where I sit there and I think about the things that have been canceled, and then I look at the things that have been allowed to go on anyway. Like Toronto was allowed to have their grilled cheese festival a few months back.
Grilled cheese festival? I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, grilled cheese festival. So that happened about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months. One of my buddies who is a beer rep was there selling all of his company's beer as the alcohol provider. But I mean, that was allowed to go, but I know if I tried to do my thing, I wouldn't be allowed to go. I don't have billions of dollars behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Hello again. It's going great. How are you? We got some more comments, so let's see what's going on before we go on to our next topic. I think that's, yes. What's going on, Auntie? What's going on?
Let's go. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Let's go.
Look like a bunch of Canucks. I do have like the stereotypical plaid on,
You do.
The red and black lumberjack plaid.
Actually, Auntie, if I'm still awake tonight, I might join you on your show because again, my internet's working. I mean, I have an entire drawer of paraphernalia to start using that's really stinking up the joint. So we have a whole bunch of news articles open here. So I was actually surprised how many breweries have opened during COVID, to be honest with you.
There have been a few standouts, yes. At least in the Ontario.
So first and foremost, in Niagara, this makes me really believe that they might not be as craft as they're out there to be, because I can't find any news stories about them opening up. But Blackburn,
yes,
there isn't even a Canadian Beer News article on them opening, but they opened late summer.
Yep.
Apparently they're huge. You've been there. Brian was there. He said the place was gigantic.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. They did
I was told by... Go ahead, sorry.
No, you go. You finish. I'll jump in.
I was going to say they apparently have a 32 hectoliter brew house and several hundred hectoliter fermenters. So they are huge.
Yep. Yeah,
Doug.
So yeah, they opened up really stealth-like. I don't think to date they've actually had their official grand opening where it's like widely publicized or widely marketed or anything like that. They just sort of quietly opened up the doors and just sort of started business. And then I caught wind of it. I can't even remember how. It's probably Instagram or maybe Facebook or something like that. And I looked it up and I was like, holy shit. Like, yeah, this craft brewery just sort of pulled a sneaky one and opened up. So, but yeah, I checked it out a few weeks back, and yeah, it's a huge facility. They're in a very much an industrial area.
What did he say? I think he said it was something like 50,000 square feet.
It's huge.
Here.
Yeah.
Let's go see what it said. Yeah, 50,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's a very large.
That's basically like Forefathers.
Well, to put it in perspective with what we have in the area, it's bigger than Bench. I mean, Bench has like those two brewing facilities, the one clean side and the one dirty side, for all their wild yeast stuff. But it's definitely even bigger than that combined. And yeah, their pricing is set up as such that it's not full blown, like looking for the most popular type of like craft. Like they're not really trying to hit that.
Yeah,
Like
I think Brian said there was something like $3.
They're like that. Some of their lagers are like sub $3 a can and stuff like that. They're definitely priced according to the size of the brewery and probably the volume that they're producing. And
now Brian wrote there that he thinks that it's possibly regional brewing for easy cross-border shipping. Cross-border shipping is never easy. Never. I mean, not even between provinces.
But I mean, if they're, well, you know how Steam Whistle has their thing with who are they brewing for? They're Steam Whistle,
Fat Tire.
the Fat Tire, and they also do the Voodoo Ranger. And there's something else that they brewed up too. So, I mean, if that's the case, they're like, my initial thoughts was that they're automatically set up to do like huge amounts of like contract brewing, sort of just like Waterloo or whomever else. But yeah, their production abilities far outweigh what they're really able to sell for themselves, if that makes any sense. So
yes, and I mean with 100 liter with 100 hectoliter fermenters and only a 32 hec system, you would think that's big time contract brewing because you do 2 or 3 batches, throw them in the fermenter, and you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it was interesting. I mean, I had a small cross section of their beers. They weren't offensive. They weren't mind blowing. They're just sort of, true to style, nothing crazy. But I mean, I wasn't blown away or anything like that. I mean,
You're Omicron, is that fucking Vincent?
That's
it's
me.
Radar.
Yeah.
Good day, Radar.
How you doing? No, Beer Nomicron
doing
is my YouTube channel that I haven't come up with yet.
It's the YouTube channel with no videos yet.
Yeah, I'm too lazy. I mean, the Beer Nomicron is 13 trillion pages long, so I've only read bits and pieces of it.
So there you go.
I don't know if Chad knows the thing about Beer Nomicron.
I don't know, man.
No.
That's a big backstory to be pulling out on this.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Eventually. How you doing there, Chad?
So I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Not too bad. And how are you doing there, Viceroy?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Radar. And yourself?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Good to hear it.
Still looking for a job.
Okay, Brian, we'll see you when we get back.
Best of luck with that, Radar.
So I have all the news articles. Open here.
Cool.
Yeah. The Abe Herb one we'll get into a little later. They actually have a bunch of articles that have come up in since the original news article. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
I know the first half, but not all the new stuff. So
okay. So first and foremost, we have a whole bunch of stuff that has opened up. Now, I see a lot of breweries that can survive easily in the pandemic if you're in a non-saturated market, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, like, Picton, Ontario just had a new, well, not just, but, just October 6th. So, Slake Brewing is now open in Picton, Ontario. So, Picton, Ontario already had Barley Days, which also leaves them with 2 cideries, a brewery, and a few other things. But a new brewery opened up. Picton, not a very big place, but even with just curbside pickup and all that, you should be able to survive. Barley Days does cross-Ontario shipping, so they should be able to survive fine. But this place opened up, and it opened up with a pale ale, a farmhouse ale, another pale ale, and a table beer at 3.3% alcohol. So at least they opened up with a somewhat spacey, choice.
Yeah.
Don't know how they're going to do. They are opening up near the beginning of the second wave, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia's had a few breweries open up. What else do we got going on here brewery-wise? We have Brandon, Manitoba, for anyone that remembers our good friend Chris Peters.
Yes.
They have a new brewery opening up, Black Wheat Brewing.
What's it called? Black what?
Black Wheat.
Okay. Interesting.
So all they're saying is that they're opening soon. I am just quickly browsing through these guys. We're going to get into good stuff very soon. Red Barn Brewing opened in Blenheim, Ontario. Another brewery that is in a place that's fairly small. So, I mean, if people actually want beer, it should work out well for them. They opened up with a home farm blonde ale at 4.8, a 5-acre island citrus blonde at 5.1, a Belgian heavy draft ale at 7.6, an English farm session IPA at 5, and a chocolate porter at 5.6.
Okay, what was that previous one? An English farm
session IPA.
What?
Does that not sound like four genres mixed into one?
Yes, it does.
It's like, oh fuck, what did we make? I don't know. Let's just call it this. Okay.
Now, here's the thing with this sort of thing, right? So this place opened up. They're not selling cans. They're not selling bottles. They're basically patio only. That's one where I don't know if I would have opened up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because you're
like if you're opening a building in the middle of a pandemic, you kind of want a come and go type of thing.
Exactly. You want to be able to deliver the beer to the people to get the hell out of there and go home. Yeah, and that's what people want right now. That's so funny.
Now, here's a brewery that changed hands. Now, this has been happening a lot since this happened. Harold House Brewing Company opened.
I was going to mention that one. Yep.
Yeah. So they have now become Heritage Hops Brew Co. in Stratford. So they were sold, and they're still in the same building. They're still the same staff. I mean, Zippel is still the brewmaster.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the staff bought it, right? They went in as a collective?
I believe so.
I think that was the initial...
one of the salespeople.
Yeah. Did they go in with like red banners and like, no, this is communism, yay, hooray?
Yeah, right.
So their sales manager contacted me on Instagram, and she's like, "We want to send you some beers." I'm like, "Well, that's great. I'm not in Ontario anymore. I'd still love to have your beers. I can pay you for things if that's what you want to do." I go, "But you can't just ship it out of your brewery. You're going to have somebody ship it this way." And I told them how to ship it. It'll cost you $30. I can send you the $30. He's like, "Okay, we'll do that." This was like a month and a half ago, so I haven't seen it yet. They didn't ship it. Here's my thing. I don't ask anybody for beer. I never go to a brewery and say, "Hey, can I have beer?"
Yeah.
You contact me and then you tell me you're sending it. Fucking send it, or tell me, you know what, we changed our mind.
Sure.
That's all. I don't care. One way or another, I don't give a shit. I know I'm in the fucking Arctic. It takes more to get the stuff to me than it would to anyone else.
Yeah.
So I do that.
It's all
don't sit there and be like, "Hey, we're sending you this." "Oh yeah, we are sending it. Don't you worry. We'll send you a bill and then never send it.
But yeah, it's funny with Harold House and it's funny that the name that they chose, because it allows them to keep all of their branding, all of their marketing, everything is the same because it's still HH. And that was
yeah.
Heritage
And I
Hops.
do believe Zippel have a hop farm?
Everyone's got a hop farm, man. I got a fucking hop farm. So I mean,
what?
I grow hops in my backyard, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
that's like when you say farm, I thought it was like something like huge,
no,
not like bushes next to the deck.
I'm trying to remember. I had a long conversation with him, and I'm pretty sure he owns a hop farm.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was very much the in vogue thing about 5 years ago, for people in Ontario with a little parcel of land was to grow some hops, but then they quickly
well, that's the thing.
With the craft beer
land and everything else.
But the problem is that you're sort of relegated to non-trademarked hops to grow, and that's all your basic C hops and all your English hops, and that's or noble hops, and that's about it. Not the exciting, sexy hops that everyone wants to brew with. So a lot of these hop growers now, they're like, we got Cascade, we got Centennial, like no one's like, we don't want that. It's
So what I've noticed, and I'm going to talk about this quickly here because it is something that's going to be brought up when we get to Abe Herb, is a lot of breweries seem to be opening up a second and third location right now.
Okay.
Which for me again is kind of strange because now you're in a time where you're not making nearly as much money, but now you have to staff more than one location and pay rent on more than one location. For instance, Sarnia's Refined Fools just opened up a sports bar. So they're not even brewing on that premises. But they have a sports bar as well as the brewery.
I just had a Refined Fool 2 weeks ago. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, those guys make great beer. They weren't at the last Albino Rhino Beer Festival. They weren't invited back because every previous year they had been at every single one. And every previous year, we almost got a citation by the AGCO each time because you would be done. It would be like 7:10, and they were still serving beer. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That's not good. No.
Yeah, but they're all great guys. They really are. They're fun. They make some good beer. But that was just, I'm like, yeah, I don't want a $10,000 fine, motherfucker.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But yeah, so they opened up a sports bar August 24th. I'm not sure how that sports bar is doing. Sarnia is not in the early stages, so they might be doing okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's happening there. Yeah, you know what, and you sort of have to think that a lot of these things were sort of already in motion before it even started.
Yeah.
You know, you can only assume that they probably pushed stuff like this back as far as they could before, you know, it just feasibly didn't make much sense to not go through with it. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think of other breweries that, like, I know of some breweries that have certainly opened since the pandemic, and is it Third Moon? I think Third Moon is the first one. Yeah, they're on this list. They're on your list.
And I hear they make amazing beer. Everybody keeps telling me you need to try their beer, and I'm like, I have nobody near them to get me any of their stuff.
Yeah,
and I had one guy go, "Oh, I can do it." And one guy's like, "Hey, I can do a beer trade with you," and I'm like, "Beer trade for what? You want some snow in a bottle?"
Yeah, exactly. What do you want from the Arctic?
There is a brewery in the Arctic, but that's in Iqaluit. I'm not in Iqaluit. I'm in Covernatuk. Like, what do you want from me? I have nothing. I have some really expensive Budweiser.
That's it. Yeah, right. And it doesn't make it better just because you pay more for it.
No. So there is a brewery that did open in Scotland, Ontario, as well.
Scotland, Ontario.
And they opened at the end of August.
Yeah.
Flux Brewing Company. So Flux opened up. Flux.
Oh, Flux. Okay.
Yeah. So they have a 5,000 square foot former horse barn.
Okay.
And they opened up with brewer Kelsey Desnoyers.
Probably.
I do believe that she was in the college program, if I remember that name correctly.
Okay.
But they opened up with cans, taps and cans of their top 6 brand. Best way to do this if you're doing it now. Day Job Pilsner, Gateway Session Ale, etc. New England IPA, Eye to Eye Irish Red, the Drawing Board APA, and Rocket Science Chocolate Milk Stout. So that is a nice spread too. I don't know where Scotland, Ontario is. I don't know if they're in Labatt or Bud or whatever worlds, but that's a nice spread. I mean, that has something for everybody.
I'm actually just on their website right now because it's the first I've heard of that one. Scotland, Ontario. Where is Scotland, Ontario? Interesting. Scotland, Ontario is not that far outside of Brantford. It's southwest of Brantford. Not that far.
He's back.
Yeah. Inadvertently stepped on my power bar.
That's funny.
Isn't that the most radar thing you've ever heard?
That's about
Jesus
it.
Christ.
Now, something else that's been happening with COVID is stuff like this. In Nova Scotia, Route 19 Brewing had to close its brewery on August 10th. It reopened August 17th, closed due to a coronavirus scare. And what happened was an RCMP investigation happened, and there was a customer from British Columbia that did not self-isolate and went to the brewery.
Oh,
So the brewery was closed because of that. The lady got a $1,000 fine.
Yep.
Under Nova Scotia's Health Protection Act. I don't even know how she got in there because I'm looking at the dates. At that point, at that point the maritime bubble was in place. Where if you didn't have a home address in the Maritimes, you could not get to the Maritimes.
Yeah.
So how she got there, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, split the time between the East Coast and the West Coast, so maybe she had a house there.
maybe.
How did they police that? Like, were they setting up blockades at all the border crossings from province to province?
Yeah, and they weren't allowing you to fly in. You'd get checked for ID when you flew in. If you didn't have proper ID, you were sent back.
Like, there's so many back roads that you could just drive in from one province to the next. There's no way that our CMP could be on every back road to monitor that. Like, seriously,
why aren't you with us right now, Carrie? Why?
You probably didn't send him the link.
Yeah, I sent it to the group. Remember?
Is he in that group?
He's in there. Yeah, but apparently his cat stepped on his power bar while he was live streaming yesterday. But you're right. There are so many back roads and everything else. I mean, unless you're paddling over on a rubber dinghy. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, right. I mean, I can make it in Niagara Falls, New York, right now, but I wouldn't want to. But all it would take is a boat and a motor. So I'm sure they're pretty good at catching those people trying to get over.
Did you guys hear what Muskoka was doing during COVID?
Muskoka? No. What were they up to?
They were doing Frontline Fridays, a program to donate and deliver free 4-packs of Tread Lightly Light Lager to essential and frontline workers across Ontario.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they were really pimping that beer all summer as well. That's their new session IPA or session pale ale or something like that. So they took the opportunity to pump out some more press about that new beer line and turn it into a good cause.
That beer was selling so badly that they had to get rid of it somehow.
Did Muskoka change? Sorry, did Muskoka change all their beers, the logos on, or what they look like?
They changed Mad Tom.
I don't.
Yeah, that's what I had. I had a man a couple of days ago. And I'm like, oh, that's a nice little.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it better, actually.
I don't hear a word you're saying. I haven't heard something. What are you saying?
They may be doing a slow changeover, just like Side Launch is doing with all of their beers. They're just slowly integrating.
Well, I know they do Molson.
Well, Side Launch still has that
They
Side Launch
Molson
logo, like what's called it sideways.
With the boat on the side going up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the logo hasn't changed, just the colors that has changed a lot.
Well, all of their new offerings that are coming out to the LCBO are being repackaged.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't it's like I'm not talking about like their Side Launch wheat or whatever, but whatever new seasonals they have coming out are all redesigned. You wouldn't even think it was a Side Launch beer.
Oh, there's Madam McGee in the background.
Yeah, Redbeard says Haze and Confused changed also. Yes.
Yes.
It
did.
Yes, my wife is throwing her bras above our heads right
now. Let's see here. When it comes to like what's happening with COVID-19 and stuff, I haven't heard much of problems with the craft breweries here in Ottawa. In fact, I think they're actually growing.
I think a lot
like for example, Dominion City, which is one of my favorites, they must have added at least 15 new beers like since June. I've tasted 8 of them just last Thursday with Guy at the hotel.
Yeah,
and most of them were really good.
You know what? As someone who's I've ordered from Dominion City before, and they usually have a really strong offering. But what I did notice during COVID is that they were running out of beer. It was a problem that they probably experienced as much like a lot of other ones.
Yes,
Is that
they did around June, July, but order it now. They got lots.
Yeah, and I think it's there's a bunch of factors there. They probably had to lay off a lot of staff, so they didn't have all of their extra production team there to help brew like a lot of the mainstay beers that they're probably tasked with doing. So then, if you wanted to order anything from Dominion City, you had to be really Johnny on the spot when they uploaded their menu, and to get what you wanted, that you would have more than 2 or 3 to choose from, because they would have like 5, 6, 7 beers, and then they just sell out right away, and then you're just left with their Town and Country Blonde and something else. But I think there were certainly some breweries who they had to probably let people go and trim down, but they did very well with their online ordering.
Yeah.
So
now on that topic, have you had anything from Overflow there?
Yes, I have actually.
Okay, so they're actually our next topic.
What?
They're our next topic, because yesterday they were in the newspaper talking about how they survived the pandemic. And when all the restrictions came into place, they fired everybody. It was just the 2 owners left, who were the 2 brewers. And they set up an online shop, and they were like, online sales is the one thing that saved us. And as of right now, every staff member, even the cooks, have been rehired. Whether or not they are all doing their same job, or if they're all working towards just beer, it doesn't say. But I mean, it does talk about how online sales is the only thing that made them survive. And I mean, that's the thing, right? You have to roll with the punches. This is the thing that a lot of breweries don't seem to be doing properly, is they just seem to rest on their laurels. Before I did this, I was talking to Jordan back and forth for a while about what his thoughts were, and what my thoughts were, because he asked me mine. Jordan, I think there's going to be a lot. Jordan St. John.
Oh, okay.
No, not Jordan.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to clarify. Yeah.
So we were talking, and one of the things I said to him is, I'm going to be surprised if some of these larger breweries survive. He's like, well, what do you mean? I go, well, I love Ken Woods. I love Ken, but I don't see Black Oak surviving this. I mean, Black Oak completely and utterly relies on their licensees, because a lot of people don't walk. You can walk into Black Oak and buy beer right from their fridge, and the beer right from their fridge is a couple months old.
Yeah.
Like, they survive on licensees, and with licensees closed down, I'm going to guess that they're bleeding something fierce.
Black Oak.
Yeah. And this pandemic actually also forced like a company like GLB. They didn't do any shipping at all. And
really,
they before the pandemic they did not ship at all.
I mean, I've been seeing them lately at the LCBOs more often than like August.
Well, now that they started doing the local shipping, and then they opened up to, I think, Ontario-wide shipping and stuff like that. Places like the Cayman Kettle, Chad. They never did shipping before, and all of a sudden now they slowly got into it, and they started doing shipping. Breakwall, they never did shipping at all, but during the pandemic, or the lockdown, they did local deliveries to the Niagara region. On certain order sizes and stuff like that. So, it really forced a lot of these breweries to look at their business and determine, we sort of have to make these necessary steps pretty quick with shipping to survive. Otherwise, we're not gonna make it.
And they're also trying new things. Like you said, some of them are some of them that had like their beer only at their store, like their brewery, their pub, right? Like Vimy here in Ottawa. I saw 3 of their beers yesterday or 2 nights ago. Were we here on Friday night when I was hammered? Ashley?
No, I wasn't. No.
No. Well, yeah, but no, they had 3 of their beers at the LCBO where I go usually, and I've never seen Vimy there before. So I think they've actually adapted as well, and they're actually sending their beer to the local LCBOs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're making a lot of money off it, but I assume they are, because they had 3 of them. 3 of their beers. I haven't had any Vimy yet. I don't know why I didn't buy them, but Bicycle Brewery is doing pretty good. I asked the girl when I went there, did they get hit a lot?
Yeah.
They had to, of course, they had to close, but then right when they opened up for like on-site pickup,
Yeah.
and their beers have also been going more often at the LCBOs. The craft breweries have been doing much better than the big three, than the Gorse Light, wife beating beers.
Yeah.
Well, it is 100% true that the big guys are bleeding. The big guys are bleeding because they're losing market share. The small guys that hurt are ones in overcrowded markets. Take Kitchener Waterloo, for instance, because one of the breweries we are going to talk about has closed permanently that was there.
Oh, really?
Another one is up for sale. Descendants is up for sale. And my buddy Brad had made a comment about Descendants. So he was like, I've driven past there all the time. He lives in the area. He's like, I've driven past there all the time, and not once have I gotten the urge to get out of my car and go in. Because that says something, because there is not a brewery that I don't pass that I don't go, hey, let's go see what they have.
Yeah, let's go see
it. Go into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really been blown away by Descendant stuff that I've had, but I've never visited the brewery personally. But I think they did a black lager. I think the Blacklist black lager. I think that was okay. But I mean, aside from that, they've been up for sale now for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Now,
the beginning of the summer, I believe.
Yeah, it's been a few months now, so we'll sort of see what happens there.
Yeah. But they went up for sale. Then you have Magnota. Magnota bought Grand River.
Yeah.
And pretty much sold Grand River right away. The weird thing is, people that own Grand River continued to own the building. All they sold to Magnota was the
name.
Well, basically the brand.
Yeah.
But Magnota still had use of that building in Galt. But when they closed it, again, that building's still owned by the people that originally owned Grand River, and they're talking about opening a new brewery now in that building again. As long as they don't decide to make their beer taste like butter again for no reason other than we can, they can probably do fine.
Yeah.
But it's weird to me that you sold the brewery because you wanted out of the beer industry. Then the company that bought you closed you, and then you went, "Hey, I have this building. Let's put another brewery in it." Why?
Yeah, good old Magnota, right? I had a good laugh when I saw that video the other day of you drinking the Magnota porter, and you poured it out and it created like 8 inches of head. And I was like, of course they fucked up the CO on that. Yeah.
So Brad is saying that the Forefathers van is all over town.
All over,
and,
imagine.
The other day he watched somebody pull over for it. They must have thought it was an ambulance.
Oh shit, that's funny. Get out of the way for the beer guy.
Oh jeez.
And that's funny because
Grand River made the original butter beer.
Breakwall Brewery, they have the exact same van that Forefathers did, like that extended van or whatever. I don't even know what model it is, but they have the exact same van as Forefathers. And yeah, I've seen that one all around town as well. So, and actually, it was funny when Breakwall, I had them do like 2 or 3 deliveries to my place, and then one of my neighbors a few doors down, he's like, I saw that truck a few times dropping off beer, so I decided to give him a call. And he had some beer delivered to them. It was so funny. I went out one day and I saw the Breakwall truck. I'm like, I didn't order any fucking beer. And then it was Conrad. He's making a delivery from 2 doors down. I was like, oh, there you go. I'm like, hey, Conrad, how's it going? So, yeah, it's funny. But yeah, those delivery trucks from all the breweries that were able to get that going, I'm sure they were kept busy. So, yeah.
So according to Magnota, when they closed the Grand River facility, it was due to the impact of COVID-19 and a growing number of unexpected obstacles in operating this property.
Yeah. I don't know what the benefit is of buying Grand River. to be completely honest, because they made a very what's the word I'm looking for? Uninspiring product, you know, between their highballer pumpkin ale that would sit on the shelves for like 8 months.
To buy it for the building. I could see you buying the building itself, not just the brand and the use of the building.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not a lot of value in the brand, to be completely honest. There really isn't.
No,
I mean,
so the brand went for sale in June 2017, and it wasn't bought for a full year.
Okay. Well, there you go. Lord knows
what else do we have on? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that highballer pumpkin ale last year, it stayed on the shelves well until like February, March, and this year, same quantities out on the LCBO shelves. I don't know why they keep on ordering it, but you know it's going to be there in 2021. So that's stupid highballer pumpkin ale, man. I can't stand that shit.
Alberta had Village Brewery closed down temporarily due to COVID-19 outbreak in its staff.
Oh, really?
And I guess the question then becomes, if you close because your staff have the outbreak, are you a place that's trusted once you reopen for people to go back to you?
I would think so. I think everyone's just sort of dealing with the whole, you know, people getting sick. It's no fault of their own. It's just happenstance, you know. You can't really control who you come in contact to.
In Kelowna, BC, Rustic Real closed temporarily due to COVID exposure as well.
That's Kelowna.
And I'm surprised you don't hear. I'm surprised you don't hear more of these stories, though. To be honest with you, with the amount of, especially say Ontario and Quebec, with the amount of cases that are happening per day in Ontario and Quebec, I'm surprised there's not more stories about that there. Leamington, Ontario has a new brewery, Cured Craft.
Okay. Didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, so it's a.
I got like a short
What do they have? I just keep hearing my door, and I keep like one day in like over a month and a half, I've decided to do a thing, and somebody's in here every 2 seconds.
Of course, right? Timing.
What do we have here? So they opened up with Colonel G's Cream Ale, 42nd Parallel Lager, AAA IPA, Helly Pilsner, Honey Badger Wheat Ale, SOS Southern Ontario Stout, and Swill on Mill Pale Ale.
Wow.
I don't know if you want to call your beer Swill.
Yeah, it's probably not the best choice of names, but it's quite the spread there. Was it like 7 or 8 beers there?
Yeah. Quails Brewing Company opened up too near the beginning of this. Quails is the one that is partially owned by Taz. Taz used to work at Barnstormer. He was one of the original founders of Barnstormer.
Oh, okay.
And then he went over to Flying Monkeys, and now he's over at Quails. Quails is another one where I want to try their stuff. I just have no one around there. But when they first opened, they only had a lager and a pilsner.
Really, eh? Interesting.
Yeah.
They went the lagering.
But I believe it was only like 2 or 3 weeks before they had a whole bunch of other stuff, because they had a stout and a porter and everything else. I think it was just let's get open and try and sell some stuff before everything gets closed down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have the cojones to open up with just two lagers, I mean, it's a hard style to pull off. Well,
so you are right. Third Moon was pretty close to the beginning of this. May 14th is when they opened up.
Yeah, they went out and they do online, and I think they have a very small store. I don't even know if they have a storefront. They have to have a storefront, but I don't think they have any distro. I mean, they don't have any distro to the LCBO or anything like that. It's just all straight online, and but yeah, they open up right at the very beginning. So, I mean, I was trying to. I remember when the lockdown started and I was laid off and I was at home and I still had my beer budget, to spend and stuff like that. Yeah, I was like sort of spreading my money around like with the local breweries, like between Cayman Kettle and Breakwall mostly. And then every so often I would do like a Dominion order. I did a Dominion order. I did a Little Beasts order, sort of spreading the money out as well. But I did a very big Sawdust City order. They did free shipping. And the shipping cost is a big deal as well. I mean, it's very expensive for them to ship beer, and it's a very heavy product to ship. So I remember with Sawdust City, they had free shipping over $100. So I was like, okay, well, let's just throw a big chunk of the beer budget at them, because I mean they have pretty reasonable price stuff. But hey, free shipping, you know, I'm saving myself $20-$25 on shipping. That means I can get X amount of extra beers. So,
well, you know, the sad thing is, as a company, if you are buying 8 beers or under, they should be able to ship it for about $20 with Canada Post flat rate boxes.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, like the majority of the, you know, between Dominion, Little Beasts, whoever, Half Hours on Earth, I don't think the shipping ever exceeds the $15 to $20 mark. I think that's usually where it lands in. I think shipping costs as a whole is very palatable when it's right around that $10 mark. You know, especially for, you know, if they do a $10 flat rate. I think that's a very palatable charge for people to sort of absorb to warrant the cost of shipping. But yeah, I don't think I haven't seen any shipping costs over $20 at all anywhere. So they usually keep it pretty reasonable.
I know Barley Days was free after $75, but to even have $75 worth of beer from Barley Days is pretty hard.
Aren't they the ones that got on board with that bucket beer with fucking Uncle Premier guy?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yep.
Sorry.
So Granite Brewery closed the Halifax store, but the Toronto location is unaffected.
Granite Brewery?
Yeah.
Never even heard of them. A random brewery.
They've been in Toronto since 1985.
Granite Brewery.
Yeah.
Never heard of them. Go figure, right? It's like, what? Oh, that's funny. So, some breweries embrace social media, some do not. And apparently, I'm very easily influenced by the ones that do embrace social media. So,
so actually, there was a brewery in Kelowna as well called Boundary Brewing, and they closed down and sold their business to Welcome Brewery. They closed down May 1st, and they said that it was completely and utterly based on COVID.
Really?
They opened in 2017, so they would have been closing before BC really went into like a lockdown situation.
That's not true, because BC locked down a lot sooner than everyone else, if I'm not mistaken.
You are.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure BC locked down pretty quick. But I mean, regardless, I mean, it doesn't really. I don't know. I mean, if you make good beer, people are going to want to get good beer, so they'll order online or they'll have you deliver. But if you don't make good beer, you're not going to sell good.
Thing, right? So they're talking about how it was COVID-19 that killed this business with so many bars and restaurants closed down. We just couldn't keep the cash flowing.
Yeah. So I mean, sort of like what you were saying earlier. If they're not, you know, if they're solely relying on their licensees rather than, you know, selling their beer themselves, you know, to like direct to client, then yeah, they would have been in trouble.
They were making distinctive German beers using a unique oak barrel brew kettle.
Have you ever heard of a German beer using an oak brew kettle? Wait, what? They're making uniquely German beers using oak brew kettles? Did I hear that right?
So I'm going to guess they were brewing a lot like the and I haven't been there, but I'm going to be bad and make an assumption. I hate making assumptions, but I'm going to guess and assume that they were brewing a lot like Black Creek Pioneer Village does.
Okay. Which they're very rustic, old school
And
style, right?
yeah, they use a copper brew kettle, but it is completely clad in oak to dissipate the heat and everything. So that would be my assumption on this, because that's the only thing I can think of. Because how else would you use a oak brew kettle?
Yeah, that sounds stupid. Nothing about that sounds right. I don't know.
And I mean, even Ed, who was the brewmaster at Black Oak at Black Creek Pioneer Village,
Black Creek,
would talk about how that would be just filled with brewing faults and everything else, but he didn't care because they were brewing like in the 1800s, and if there was a brewing fault in something, it was too bad you drink it.
Exactly, yeah. That's just like Nordic raw ales. They will take it's like a tree and they hollow it out, and then that's where they infuse the wort with juniper berries and stuff like that, and it's never really boiled off. It's just sort of sits there in the wood. So it's there's a lot of different ways to make beer. So
that's how I would imagine hobbits would make beer,
right? I mean, you make do. I mean, like take yourself back 1,000 years, and you're just sort of sitting there fermenting some grains and some a tree trunk with some water and some juniper berries to bitter it out and to help preserve it. You never really thought to boil it on a metal pot that you never had. So
are there bottles made out of oak too?
Right? Yeah. No, it's raw ales. They're actually a thing I've seen too. A lot of homebrewers are trying to do raw ales where you're making a beer per se, but you're not boiling it. So it's a really interesting process.
I wonder how it tastes.
Not like the beer.
Now, Brad, if you're still around, Brad, I'd like to know if you've tried this place and if it's even still open. But back in April, so really the beginning of this, Reverence Barrel Works officially launched in Cambridge, Waterloo, with online ordering.
Yes.
And when they opened with Arabella Dre, which was a Berliner Weiss aged in red wine barrels with Woodruff, brewed in collaboration with Arabella Park Beer Bar. Avidity, which was a red wine barrel aged Brett wit beer, which just doesn't sound like a wit beer because it has Brett, but whatever. Cannon, which was an English style barley wine aged in single rum barrels, and Assiduous Apricot, which was a soured Brett Saison aged in red wine barrels with apricot. And all of those sound amazing. It kind of sounds like Pony Barrel Works
the same type of idea
in Ottawa. And I do believe Pony Barrel Works closed. I don't know.
I will say
up now.
I have seen some stuff from them on the shelves, and I actually saw a new format for them. They actually had a small 375 bottle because they would usually just sell it as a 500 ml bottle, but I saw a 375 from them. But I find that I've had like one or two beers from them, and I've it's okay, it's not mind blowing. But yeah, I think our friends Ewart and Jamie both bought from is it Reverence? Is that what you're talking? Yeah, Reverence. No, I don't think Ewart did. Jamie did for sure, and I don't want to quote him, but I'm pretty sure he liked most of what he got from them. I wouldn't say every one was 100%, but.
Brad did just say they are right around Barncat, so that would make sense because he would go to Barncat quite often.
Yeah, he was still a bit. Well, here's the funny thing, poor Jamie, because his work is right around the corner, but the hours would never work out because he got off work right when they would open on a Fridays. And then he was working from home, which is not in Cambridge, so going to Barncat wasn't something that he wanted to do. So, the poor guy still struck out, getting to Barncat all the time. So.
Barncat's another one that I'm surprised has survived because they are open very minimal hours. Even before COVID.
Exactly. Before COVID, this didn't hurt them at all. If anything, it helped them out. Well, I wouldn't say it helped them out, but I mean, they were a pretty small operation but a small operation, but big hype. I mean, deservedly so. They make exceptional product. So regardless of pandemic or not, people were still going to go to Barn Cat and get their newest release every week when they came out with something.
So strangely, in Quebec, the SAC is allowed to sell alcohol and wine online. They can't sell beer. The SQDC can sell.
I read that.
So beer can't be sold online in Quebec. So there is a lot of Quebec breweries right now fighting the government, saying you need to loosen distribution so that we can sell, because we're all going to go out of business because all we have is our brewery sales for restaurants and bars, and those are all closed in Quebec. There is some stuff that ends up in corner stores, des Peigneuses and stuff like that, or in Marché Turenne or Marché de Bouy or any of those things. So the marchés and the corner stores and actual shops, but you aren't getting the same type of thing where Ontario is surviving, and some other provinces like Alberta and BC and all that. New Brunswick, there's that one brewery in New Brunswick that can ship everywhere in Canada except for Quebec.
Trailway.
It's SAQ who gets the beer from the brewers, and then they keep it at their SAQs in stores. And so obviously they can't, send it by mail, which sucks. I mean, they should let them, be able to sell by mail like you do here in Ontario, because that's how most of the ones that are doing good here still in Ontario, that's how they're doing good, is because they're able to, mail it or deliver it or,
Yep.
And that's the thing, right? So right now there's a lot of breweries that could survive if they could sell via mail. And Quebec has almost as many breweries as Ontario. In all honesty, that would be amazing if they could do that. And I think it's stupid that you can sell wine by mail, spirits by mail, and cannabis by mail, but not beer.
I know. There's such a, and it's so fucked up from one province.
It's the SAQ. The SAQ is owned by the fucking Montreal Mafia, anyways.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is a shame that we don't have the access of goods from one coast to the other, and it's all tied up in bureaucracy. It's a shame, but it is what it is. I mean, it just prevents me from buying all those adjunct laden beers that Dan gets out west in Calgary. Yeah. And I give Dan a hard time. It's like, anyway, it's fun.
Oh, they really like their beer in Alberta, the deep south of Canada.
But yeah, Brad, Barn Cat. I mean, I haven't had a chance to sample many of their beers, but the few I've had from them are. The only beer I've had by them is Rat Queen. What's that, Chad?
I think the only beer I've had by them is Rat Queen.
Oh, the Rat Queen, yeah. I think I had two on the bottle share that was held at my place, and then one the year before when it was on at Chris's apartment. But I mean, they make great beers. It's just, I mean, they run their business the way they do, and they're very successful at doing it. So it's just a shame that they have piss poor hours and they don't ship. But it is what it is. Shipping didn't help out Bellwoods all that much with their product. I mean, I'm sure it's getting out to a lot of people, but you talk to anyone who's been a long-term Bellwoods fan, if you ask them within the last 18 months, a lot of their quality is sort of taken a nose turn a little bit, and they're not as hype as they used to be. So
I think the problem with Bellwoods too is they opened that second location, and once they did that, they spread their brewing team thin because they didn't have a huge brewing team, and they didn't use the same brewer at both locations.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the same brewer doing the same things at each place, everybody will brew things slightly different. I mean, for instance, when Kyle brews, Kyle isn't there anymore. He's now over at Brimstone. So when Kyle brewed, it was different than when Dave brewed. When Dave brewed, it was different than when Chad brewed. When Chad brewed, it was different than. Yeah,
and that's on the same system. Yeah, no, actually, do both Bellwoods locations brew? Are they brewing at both locations?
They both have. You both have a brewery. They do a lot of smaller batch stuff at the small mechanic shop.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you know what? I'll be honest. I don't order Bellwoods or seek out their stuff all that much, but from the people who do and who have mentioned it to me, yeah, it's like the stuff's just not quite the same. Cheers, Jamie. Watch this tomorrow. Bye.
Goodbye, Jamie.
For Monday.
So yeah, we have Abe Herb. Abe Herb. Beer is his middle name. Abe Herb. So they've been around 6 years now. 6 years. In those 6 years, they have done a lot of wasted money.
Okay.
Anyway, here we go. Herb Brewing Company says it is shutting down after 6 years of serving cold ones around the West Waterloo region. In a post on Tuesday morning, the brew pub announced challenging circumstances have prevailed, and it is unable to move forward as a business. Our hearts break to share this difficult news. Since Abe Herb opened in 2014, we've been fortunate for the opportunity to be part of a passionate community that comes together around its local businesses, even in the most uncertain times. You had a kitchen and beer. You shouldn't have had a problem.
Yeah.
Continuing, though, this statement didn't say if the closure was related to COVID-19. There was another statement that said it was. As many other local businesses have been having a hard time keeping their doors open due to the pandemic, Abe Herb has 4 locations spread across Uptown Waterloo, Downtown Kitchener, Air Village, and Guelph. So first and foremost,
they were really spread out.
Lesson for you guys in the beer industry: don't open a whole shit ton of locations unless you know for a fact you can pay the rent on them all and use them all. I don't understand this concept that everybody has right now. Let's open up more and more locations. Get a bigger building. Don't keep holding more locations open.
Yeah.
Expand, but don't expand like that, because there's no reason. Now you have to have 2 staffs instead of 1 staff.
Exactly.
Like I was saying, so these places should have been able to, all with restaurants, all with a brewery, they should have been able to have a staff of like 4 people and keep the buildings running. You had the only thing people wanted in the pandemic. You had booze and you had food.
Yeah. So were the other 3 areas like they were just straight up restaurants, and I'm assuming they had 1 facility that was brewing and they were feeding all 4 of them with the beer?
From what I understand, they all had a brew house in them. Whether
No
or not
way.
they did,
Come on.
Really?
That's silly. If they did it that way, that's just dumb. That's just dumb.
That's like trying to make it bigger, and that's like the downfall of the American Empire right there. You get it too big, and then
you can't. I mean, if they have 4 separate brew houses, then they can't control the product. You'd have to have 4 brewmasters.
Devin was working for them. Chris was working. Kevin Colgate.
Who's that?
He used to be on my show all the time. He was one of my reviewers.
Oh, okay.
He worked in the for a bit. He worked at Nickelbrook for a bit. He ended up going there because his buddy Craig worked there.
Yeah.
Now, this story has a lot going on. So that was posted. After that was posted, another article came out. Yeah. And the other article was Guelph landlord alleges fraud and theft in $1.3 million claim against Abe Herb Brewing Company.
Oh, jeez.
So this was filed in Ontario court. Allegations of fraud, theft, in part related to the money the landlord says fronted Abe Herb to help prepare the business for opening. And a statement filed in May. So this was filed in May. They closed permanently in October. I think they closed so that they could do the bankruptcy thing to not have to pay. But that's me. Who owned the Junction building the restaurant was located in, is claiming more than $1.2 million in damages after it alleges the restaurant and its directors broke the 10-year lease and failed to pay rent at the Guelph location, as well as allegations of theft and fraud. The allegations have not yet been proven in court, and the defense have so far been filed by 2 of the 4 defendants in the claim, both of whom claim they were not involved and have asked for the action to be dismissed. Brian Trudham said he was not involved in the management of the company and was not an officer or employee. Frank Beasley said he only became general manager of the Guelph location in February of 2020 and denies any wrongdoing. Also named as defendants are Alan Ruby and Robert citizens who have yet to file statements of claim. Aberg Brewing Company opened in August of 2019 in Guelph, then closed in March when the pandemic hit. It never reopened, and on October 13th, the owners of the company announced all 4 locations were closing for good.
Yeah,
Prior to the August 2019 opening on the Edinburgh Road South location in Guelph, Aberb had been operating locations in Kitchener, Waterloo, and Ayr. According to the claim, the lead up to the opening of the Guelph location, Aberb wanted to proceed with opening the operation in the junction, but needed financial assistance in completing the leasehold improvements, fixtures, and for the operation of the restaurant. Granite said it started to become concerned with respect to the financing terms of the lease in January 2020, after it became aware that suppliers and or contractors had allegedly not been paid, despite funding advances by Granite.
Sort of sounds like they were caught up in a lot of financial stuff leading into this. That was like years in the making. They were so heavily leveraged, in like debt, or it sounded like they had a lot of debt on their table before this even happened, and this sort of compounded the problem. But that was just due to poor management or like poor business planning, like because you're entering into a pandemic when there's people are stressed out and they're either going to turn to drugs and alcohol a lot, and if you're a company that makes alcohol and you can't make it work, it's because there's a lot of underlying issues going on. So yeah,
well, going further into this, by February of this year, Granite claims it had determined that Abe Erb, through the action of its directors, had allegedly submitted $179,347.06 in fake or fraudulent invoices and accepted payments of fake, inflated, or fraudulent invoices.
So
Granite
yeah, COVID
Abe Erb submitted invoices for $95,116,000 for brewing equipment, but allegedly did not pay the equipment supplier, and converted some or all of the funds to its own use. Further, an invoice for $42,375 was submitted by Aberb for brewing installations and services, but Granite said it discovered that the actual invoice was only for $18,122.94, and just over $2,700 was for work performed at another location. The lease drafted by Granite included commercial tenancy terms to Aberb, but also included financing terms to be at the tune of $675,000 to be used for leasehold improvements, brewery and kitchen equipment, furniture, and light fixtures. As those improvements were being completed, Granite was committed to making ongoing contributions, paying up to 75% of the invoicing minus construction lien holdbacks. A total of 120 monthly payments were to be paid to Granite to cover the improvement allowance portion of the financing. So yeah, they fucked up something fierce.
They had some shady business partners. How many hands were in the pot in that one? Like, how many partners were there?
They say 4.
Yeah, there was one too many, obviously, because someone was skimming. You know what I mean? Someone fucked them big time.
So that had nothing to do with COVID.
Yeah, no. This was all like this is all. Yeah, they fucked themselves, and then COVID just fucked them even more. So
yeah.
That's on them. But I think as Brad said, he's like between Forefathers, Rhythm and Brews, and Jackass Brewing, I'm spoiled for choice. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be missing Abe Erb all that much.
No. So what do we have here? Abe Erb did not make its lease payment for April or May. A few days after the start of May, Abe Erb told Granite it had retained restructuring consultants and was abandoning the Guelph location. On May 18th, Abe Erb confirmed via text to Granite that it was abandoning the location, saying, anyhow, feel free to enter, it's all yours.
Via text. It's all yours. Oh, God. That's funny.
Allegedly, there are some shady guys on both sides of this. Allegedly. Well, anyone that is willing to just pay somebody $675,000 to upgrade their own building is somewhat shady in the fact that just seems like they were setting them up to, you pay us interest back, and then we are just going to end your lease once the 10 years are up and give it to somebody else. That's what that screams to me. on the lines of what happened with Amsterdam, which is why everybody that ever asked me if I would open my own brewery, I said no, because I don't have the money for brewery equipment as well as a building. Because I wouldn't want somebody to just be able to shut down my work and be like, fuck you, you're gone. But that's what happened with Amsterdam. That probably was going to be what happened with these guys after they paid up their $675,000 plus.
Yeah, by the sounds of it.
However, for Granite shouldn't have anything to worry about because one of the breweries that was at the Albino Rhino Beer Festival, Fixed Gear, they are opening a restaurant and tap room in that location. So they already have it all set up. And according to the news article, some of the work has been done, but a lot of that money was pilfered. So I'm not going to guess as to how much of the work was actually done.
Yeah. There you go.
But it's still selling their beer, though.
Oh, is that the Grapefruit Pomelo Growers?
Yes.
It's sweet, but I enjoy that one.
It was sweet, and I enjoyed it. I can still taste the latex rubber in it, but I still enjoyed it.
I never quite picked up the latex, but...
Well, I've said it many times, I'm really, really sensitive to sulfites, so I can taste them.
Yeah.
I hate sulfites.
Well.
What do we have here? Brad has a comment going.
Could be some of them involved in waste management. It's probably not a far stretch. Yeah, and then he also said allegedly there are some shady guys on both sides of this, allegedly. Yeah. And Jamie said,
"Yeah, no, go ahead, Jamie. Stopped at the Waterloo location.
Yeah, I stopped by the Waterloo one often when I played night hockey on Sundays. I'd get a few beers to take home before my game. So
playing hockey drunk. That's awesome.
There you go. Yeah, they're. I think he was referring to their 1857 Kolsch, which is pretty much the only beer from ABERB I would ever see in the LCBO, and it's a Kolsch, so it is what it is. Molson Ultra. Not the same Molson Ultra that I would have drank back in 1996, but it is what it is.
It's the Molson Ultra I have an ability to get now.
There you go. Well, chat, I'll be honest, it was a great chat, but I got to get going because my kids are off to bed. So I have to talk them in.
You gotta tunnel them?
I got to bump them on the head. Got to give them one of those. And then I'll tuck them
you
in.
Enjoy yourself. My wife is still watching 90 Days Fiance, so I'll stay online for a bit.
Oh God!
There you go. Cheers, Chad.
Good talking to you again, sir.
Radar. Good seeing you, buddy.
Good to see you too.
You guys have a good evening. I will see you guys later. Cheers.
Have a good one, sir.
Cheers. I also wanted to talk about some stuff from the Brewers Journal of Canada last week. One of them was the one were you done with all the news you had?
Yeah, that was the last of the COVID news. I mean, really, like I was saying, ABERB has blamed everything on coronavirus, but it seems like they're just trying to stay out of going to prison. Because, if you fold your incorporation fast enough and you go through bankruptcy and all that, there's not a lot that can happen to you. But if they're not fast enough, a lot of things can happen.
It's a case of trying to grow up. It's a case of trying to grow big really fast, and it backfired on them even before COVID. But lately, last week, I was Dominion City has brought. I don't know how many beers in the last couple of weeks, but they were all good. I gotta say, I also had the Southeast City Viva La Stout Chocolate Raspberry Cookie Stout.
Oh, I wanted to have that, but I couldn't get my hands on it.
Now, you know me, I only like IPAs now, but I gave that one a 9 out of 10. It is very good. I don't know if you saw the video. Guy already put it online on his Drinking in Canada thing. And I gave that a 9 out of 10. I think it's the highest stout that I've ever had. Dark chocolate and the raspberry. It was good.
I haven't been able to watch a lot in the last 2 weeks. The internet has been horrendous for the last 2 weeks. It just got better in the last few days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What do we got here?
so I'm receiving
Good day.
Brewers.
How are you? It's as well as it's going to be.
They
Yes,
closed
we
Grand
did.
River
We did
Brewery.
talk about that.
Huh.
No, we did. We did talk about that, and the fact that it. Oh well, we also talked about who would want to buy Grand River and why. It wasn't like Grand River had a huge market share. I mean, Grand River sure was probably pretty big in the Cambridge Waterloo area, but it didn't have. It's not like you got your hands on a Nickelbrook or you got your hands on a
Collingwood.
Steam Whistle or a Collingwood or Bose or something that had a huge footprint. Yeah, it was an older brewery, but I mean, even in the older breweries, it wasn't a GLB or an Amsterdam. Does Amsterdam even do anything worthwhile anymore? I haven't heard anything about Amsterdam forever. But anyway, Vincent,
I had an
you
Amsterdam.
had something out of your brew?
Sorry. No, I had an Amsterdam.
You said you had something you wanted to chat about?
Yeah, I had an Amsterdam last week, actually. Can't remember who it was, but it was actually not that bad, if I remember correctly. Unfortunately, I threw the can out, so I can't remember what it was. So, Brewers Journal of Canada this week. We already talked about that one. Quebec microbrewers. Carlsberg expanding its range of non-alcoholic. No, I'll skip that one. Canada's malting barley growers received good news. They've been doing pretty good. Barley, well, how do you call them? Barley wines? They've been doing pretty good apparently in the last couple of months. In Ontario, anyways. Let's see here. Craft brewers in Newfoundland and Labrador received discounts. That's good. Now, have you ever heard of this one? It's called, where is it there? You do know Brewdog, right? UK?
Yeah.
They now have the record for the strongest ABV beer at 57.8.
Well, they had the record, and then they lost the record to Snake Bite.
To
Snake Venom.
To do a Schorschbrau from Germany. That's what it says here.
That's a different one. So what happened was they had the record, and then they lost it to Snake Venom in London, UK. And then it was found out that Snake Venom wasn't a truly brewed beer. It was a spirits-based beer.
Yeah.
So it lost the distinction, and then they had the distinction again. Then they lost it, and now they have it again.
I wonder if they're any good. I wonder if they even sell them here. I don't know. Do they sell them here?
Actually, those ones, no. Ontario has a ABV law on how high your beer is allowed to be base brewed, and then you can have ABV above that via secondary means such as leaching from barrel aging and all that, but they can't go above X amount before the barrels or anything like that. Okay. It's the reason why when Trafalgar originally had their super strong beers, they had to stop selling them because they were above the law when the law decided to come out. And yet, to you there, you're right. To me, Magnota wasn't a very big brewery to begin with either. They had their True North range, and that was really about it. And none of it was really good. And you'd find it at random beer stores, and it would be sitting there for months before you bought it. So it was always stale as fuck by the time you drank it. And to see them go out and go, you know what beer we're going to buy? We're going to buy we're going to buy Grand River. You know why? Because we want a beer that has a buttery taste to go along with our stale beer. So you can drink our stale beer and go, I want to wash this down with butter. And then you can have the butter beer. It was a stupid financial choice, in my opinion, just like you made your own comment about. But then to sit there and close it down and then move the production over to your own facility in Vaughan, why? Why even move the fucking stuff over to Vaughan? Why? Why even do it? There's no reason to bring this. You know what? Accept that you fucked up, stop making it, and move on. There's no reason to go, hey, you know what we're going to do? We have some more fucking capacity in Magnota. Let's brew Grand River in Magnota. No, you know what you do? You go, hey, any new brewers want to have something? Come contract brew in our capacity so that we can actually hit capacity instead of brewing this shit that nobody's going to buy. So yeah.
So yeah.
There-
So my own call. So reading about this, world's strongest beer holds the record with 57.8 ABV. The brew dogs, their strength in numbers. They're called the Tactical Nuclear Penguin at 32%, Sink the Bismarck at 41%, because it was 1941, and the End of History at 55%. Makes it ABV a whopping 57.8. Jesus Christ.
And I do believe, if I remember correctly, the End of History was the one inside the taxidermy squirrel.
Was it? No,
I believe that was the one inside the squirrel. I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to have to look it up right now, but I think it's the End of History was the taxidermy squirrel one. Because they did have a bottle. The bottle was shoved inside the squirrel so that the head of the bottle came out the mouth.
I think I remember you saying that in 2016 when I was at the beer fest over there. You talked about something like that. Jeez. Fuck. What else? Let's see here. Atlantic Canada has a new brewery, Topside Brewing Canada. It's called Topside Brewing.
That's what it was.
I'm curious to know how they taste. I mean, I've always liked new breweries, and especially from the East End, from the Maritimes, pretty good. Alaska, Power Dump Nick or Lee Russell. Samuel Adams,
$20,000. $20,000 a bottle.
What? For which one?
The End of History.
Holy shit! That's what.
Brad,
that's
you
one
know what?
That's one hell ass expensive squirrel.
You know what, Brad? I've never fully had a lot of problems with Grand River beer, other than the fact that it all tasted like diacetyl for no reason other than it could taste like diacetyl. And then when I met the guy that used to brew it, and he said it was purposely put in. He actually was brewing at the one right outside of Hamilton. It was in the old bus. We took you there, Vincent.
TPB. Fuck, what was the name of that? Yeah, I forgot.
No, this is the one in Hamilton. Shed Brewing.
Yes, Two Sheds. Was it Two Sheds Brewing?
Yeah.
No.
So no, it's just Shed Brewing.
Yes.
Barrel Shed or something. No, Barrel Shed was one of the beers. Sean and Ed Brewing.
Sean and Ed, yes.
And Shed was what they went with.
Are they still there?
Yes, they're still there. But their brewmaster used to brew for Grand River Brewing. And he told us, because we were talking about it off camera, he wouldn't talk to us about it on camera. But I'm like, yeah, it always tasted like butter, and I didn't like that. He goes, yeah, that was their trademark. They wanted you to know you were drinking one of their beers. And I'm like, well, that's fucking bullshit.
That's
whatever.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So that was why that was there, and that just boggled my mind that somebody would even do that.
Oh, fuck. And I'm also on the website. What's brewing? It's talking about the Abe Herb Brewing closed all locations. Brew Donkey temporarily halts tours in response to rising COVID. Brew Donkey is a bus that goes around as a brewery. They're from Ottawa, but I've never heard of them. Let's see.
Yeah, Brew Donkey is a lot like the Ale Trail. The Ale Trail, the one in Niagara. They had a van and they would take you from brewery to brewery.
Well, I don't know where that would stop them from moving around. I guess there's laws against the moving a van.
You have all those different people that get in it, right? They're basically doing pub crawls and. And to Brad, yes, that would be who we're talking about.
Ottawa-based brewery Big Rig. There's a new location in Mississauga. Not surprised because Big Rig is big enough to support itself in other places.
I don't get as mad when Big Rig opens up new locations because Big Rig still has Chris Phillips as one of the backers. And Chris Phillips, yeah, he never made huge money in the NHL, but he still made a couple million every season that he played. But he was like Chris Neal and like Zenon Zinopka there. He actually put his money into things. He invested his money. So yeah, he didn't make as much as some guys do, but he ended up being wealthier than some of the guys that made huge money.
Yep.
So if he wants to waste some of his money on more breweries, let him waste some of his money on more breweries. You know, like
Yeah.
do whatever you want, man.
Let's see. India Ale House announces the return of Flanders Red Ale. India Ale House. Never heard of them. Collective Arts Brewing announced second location. Collective Farts. That's how I always call them. Collective Farts.
You know what, Brad? That's actually interesting because I haven't had a Grand River beer in years. I do know that he might not have been feeding full lies because the Sean and Ed beer did not have that buttery taste. However, Sean and Ed put a lot of money into their brew house to the point where they had one of the most technically advanced brew houses I've seen in a while. So it might have been a mixture of him doing it and them telling him to do it, or it might have been just that he kept fucking up and didn't want to admit it. But I don't see a guy that fucks up that much getting that better once he moves on. Case in point, a brewery that I may or may not work with quite often when I do my beer festival may or may not have a ownership partner that may or may not know how to brew very well, and the beer may or may not have gone much better once he left. And he may or may not have went out to Nova Scotia and started brewing for Propeller, and he may or may not have fucked the beer up there too to the point that he came back to Ontario. That may or may not have happened, but it didn't get better at the next brewery he went to. It went back to the same as what he was doing at the first brewery, may or may not have. And I may or may not have this conversation with this guy every single time he calls me, where I tell him the beer at this may or may not brewery has gone may or may not hundreds times better since he fucking left. May or may not happen.
Did you also do a video or a live thing on the Canadian Brewing Awards 2020?
No, I never did that video this time around. My internet has been off or on every once in a while.
That was 3 weeks ago, actually, or 2.5 weeks ago, September 18th.
Yeah, that's when my internet was really, really horrible.
The Canadian Brewing Awards. Let's see here. I could tell you what they were.
You know what? I've stopped caring about the Brewing Awards because all the Brewing Awards are is again just a marketing piece. The second that you can have a fucking beer win the cream ale category that isn't a cream ale, or win the pale ale category that isn't a pale ale. It like Muskoka Cream Ale one year won Pale Ale of the Year, and then it also won top beer in the Ontario Brewing Awards.
Really?
I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that you won fucking top of class with a beer getting marked in a different category than what it actually is. Fuck that bullshit. Second of all, when like Trafalgar won Newcomer of the Year, after Trafalgar had been open for over 15 years. I'm sorry. It's been open for 15 years.
Yeah, I remember that.
You were newcomer of the fucking year. Beer awards mean shit. And the fact that people, like, you know what? It's great publicity. It's great to be able to put it on the side of your can or the side of your bottle or on your back fucking your mantle or anything like that. Fuck, we did beer awards at the Albino Rhino Beer Festival. You know what? It's great that you have that and you can say, look, this beer was voted this. That's great. But I have to question the amount of people that are judges and how they judge. Because, again, Muskoka Cream Ale should never have won a fucking top fucking pale ale beer. Yeah. How the fuck did Labatt 50 win the cream ale category in the beer awards? What was it, against a fucking toaster? Was it Labatt 50 or a toaster? Were those your two choices? Like, how the fuck did that happen?
I'd have gone for the toaster.
I can accept Coors Light or Molson Canadian or something like that winning the lager category, because you know what? As much as a craft brewer hates that people will drink macro beer, when you're looking at the exact definition of a lager, it should be fairly bland and tasteless. I mean, it shouldn't be fully tasteless, but it shouldn't be I drank it and thought I just drank an IPA. That shouldn't happen. So I can accept things like Coors Light winning the light lager category. I can accept that. I can't accept fucking Labatt 50 winning the cream ale. I can't accept Muskoka cream ale winning the pale ale. I can't accept a lot of things that have happened in the beer awards. That being said, it does help me decide on beers that I want to try.
No.
And I mean, that's really all it can be there for, right? Just to make you go, oh, what's this brewery? They won a bunch of awards. I kind of want to try their beer. That's what it can do.
Yeah, exactly. It did not taste good compared to others. Do you want to know which one won this year for cream ale? Oh no, wait, I'm looking at bronze. No, it's called the
Brad, I don't know if you're trying to defend them or go against them there. Brad says Grand River had an entire display case full of awards from the OCBs. I rest my case. Are you trying to say they're great, or are you trying to accept what I'm talking about here? Okay, so what won cream ale this year?
It's called The Specialist from Tire Shack Brewing Company. Tire Shack, I've never heard of. You know what? I think I might have heard Lee talk about it. But anyways, this
Did you say
called
Tire
Shack? What? No, the Tire Shack Brewing Company, and it's called The Specialist. It's a cream ale, and that's what won. It's from New Brunswick, and I've never heard of it. I'll ask whenever what's his face there, Lee or Nick, whenever I see him.
Yep.
The beer itself, the Tire Shack Brewing. What I'm trying to find is the Specialist. If there's any ratings on Untapped. But anyways, that's the one that won the number one. But for some reason, the Specialist, I can't find any reviews on it anywhere. Tire Shack Beer Advocate. Okay, Beer Advocate has. Nope, nobody's even done reviews on it yet either. So this must be like a really brand new beer or like a very limited beer that won the cream ale number one gold.
2 years before I left Ontario, I helped judge the U.S. College Open beer awards. So basically, it was college students making beer. And Dow Skiggins, who runs a lot of U.S. beer awards, was the one that brought them up. We did the taste test at Cayman Kettle, and there was me, Jordan St. John, and Kevin Somerville were the three that were running the different teams. We were running the different teams, and in my team, we had Dave was there, and we had people that weren't beer judges as well join us, just to get layman's terms. And what we did was each table had one score sheet, and it was the guy that was actually a beer judge. So myself, Kevin, and Jordan St. John were the ones that ended up having to do the final ratings. But you discussed it democratically with like the beer. And I must tell you, at least 9. We ended up going through them so quickly that we did three categories, and at least 90% of the beers had so many faults in them that it was scary. And I'm like, I have to give an award, like a silver, bronze, and gold to these things. Like, what the fuck is this? And Dow's like, come on, stop being so harsh on them. I go, I have to be harsh on them. You're making me ingest these. Like, these have so many faults in them that I'm afraid I'm going to be sick. And he's like, no, it can't be that bad. I go, try this. And I remember me and Dave had one. And Dave, because Dave owns a brewery and Dave is a brewer and he doesn't like when people are mean to brewers, he was trying to be very, 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 very diplomatic on everything. And I'm like, this is shit. And he's like, oh, like, no, it's shit. And we were going back and forth one time, and there was one beer I drank, and I put the cup down, and the other 3 people at my table drank it, and they put their cups down, and we all waited for Dave to be very, very diplomatic, right? We were waiting for Dave. So Dave takes his sip, he puts it down, and he looks at me, and he goes, just write it shit. And I'm like, exactly, thank you. It was horrible. They made garbage, but it was my garbage. You know what, Brad? That's the thing, right? That brewery that may or may not have had its beer go up in quality once a certain person may or may not have left. He made garbage. He really did. But you know what? I love that brewery. I love the guys. I drank it anyway. The only time I got mad at him was this one time he called me in. And he goes, try this. And he hands me a beer. And I drink it. And he goes, "Is there something wrong with that?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What?" I go, "I have no idea. It tastes off. It tastes off, but I don't. It's not any off flavor I know." And then he pulls out. What they did was they had one of the old German gas like half barrel systems. So they were you're basically your mash tun and everything else is like
Oh, like
kegs.
like an air bulk or whatever they call it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like it was basically like a glorified homebrew system, right? Is what they started on before they went to their bigger system, and they couldn't always get it to temperature, so they had these immersion heaters that they would put in as well. And he goes, "Look at this," and he hooks up his immersion heater, and some of the rubber had burnt off. I go, "What the fuck?" He goes, "Oh, I put it in too deep, and some of the rubber burnt off, so you're drinking like vulcanized rubber in the beer." And I go, "You fucking gave me this?" Like,
He told you that? Yeah, there's vulcanized rubber in there.
he goes, "I just want to know if you can taste it, so I knew if I could sell it or not." I'm like, "You motherfucking piece of fucking shit! Like, what the fuck?"
Vulcanized
I was legitimately angry. And back then, that was back when I was starting to get built again, so I kind of had no neck, and I was angry. There was veins popping out in my head. I was not happy.
Oh god.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Rod.
Oh shit. So yeah, the awards. Where was I? What was it called again? The Canadian Brewing Awards. So yeah, Cream Ale. The top one was the Specialist from Tire Shack Brewing Company. I'd never heard of Tire Shack. It's in New Brunswick. It was first, but on Untapped, it's only got 3.57 out of 5, 482 reviews in 13 months. And the one that finished second has a better reviews on Untapped. And that one's called the, let's see here, the Cream Ales from Anderson Craft Ales.
Anderson. I know Anderson. We're in London, Ontario.
Yep.
Actually,
I've heard of Anderson before, too. I think London. There you go. Yeah, that's...
first and second have a little bit of a connection there because the guy that runs Anderson Craft Ales, whose last name is Anderson, used to be the brewmaster in New Brunswick at the Brasserie de Petit.
Oh yeah, Petit Chaloup. Yeah, I know what. Yeah, the Brasserie de Petit Cachot. Yeah. Nick mentioned it just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he used to be the brewmaster there, and then he moved to Ontario with his wife and opened up his own brewery.
Oh, nice. So yeah, then the third one, the one I got in third place, has the same rating as the number one. Roger that from Overflow Brewing. I've had that one actually. It was actually not that bad. I've had it not long ago. I'm looking at the logo right now. I'm like, yes, that's the one. It was actually pretty good. It has like an airplane logo.
If any of you guys want to join our panel, please let me know. I'll send you the link. I'm probably going to be on for another 30, 35 minutes because I basically, once my wife gets done out there, I'll get off. Also, ask us any questions. Talk to us. We have finished, for the most part, our topics. We're just chatting beer now. We're chatting beer and life. And I have another Molson Ultra to drink. Bang.
Did you want me to read quickly some of the winners?
Sure.
European
some good categories.
Yeah.
No, not shit categories. Give me like porter or stout or barrel aged. Give me best in class. Give me the top beer of the entire show. Something like that.
It doesn't say. It's just like every category. There you go. Beer of the year. The beer of the year, the Glutenberg Red from Glutenberg, Quebec.
Okay, so here's how beer of the year works. Okay, in any of these things, it's whatever one has the highest rank of all of them. Whatever one gets scored the highest gets that thing. So it would have been a gluten-free beer. So what that means is that it's a shit-tastic beer that was just a really good gluten-free beer. Like it probably tasted maybe like Rickard's Red, maybe, and then it got best in show because it fucking got the highest marks because you didn't taste the fucking sorghum or the fucking buckwheat or something like that.
Do you want to know how much it has on Untapped? What's the rating?
Sure.
3 out of 5. And that thing
won. That makes no sense. But again, like I said, basically, so every beer category has exact characteristics, and unfortunately, the way those beer awards work too is a lot of times some people will be very, 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 very strict on those statistics, and you have to hit those statistics exactly to get your points. And some people look at it as their personal opinion on it, right? Whether or not I really like this. It doesn't matter if it hits these points perfectly, but I really like this. This is a great pale ale, or this is a great gluten, whatever. So what they do is they take all the score sheets and they add the scores together, and whoever has the highest gets best in show, gets beer of the year. But I mean, it's not like it's really hard to get beer of the year as a gluten-free beer. I mean, that's not really even a beer, because a beer has to, truthfully, a beer is supposed to have gluten in it. It's supposed to have malted barley. There's no malted barley in it. So I understand that is a category that you're using, but it probably shouldn't be a category that can win beer of the year.
But it did, unfortunately.
Yes.
2020.
Alrighty, Brad, have a good night. Thank you for joining us.
The 2020 Canadian Brewing Awards Brewery of the Year. The Brewery of the Year. Common Crown Brewing Company from Alberta. Have you heard of them?
Good day, Ricardo. Sorry, say that again. Brewery of the Year.
Common Crown Brewing from Alberta.
No, never heard of them.
Never heard of them. Ratings are through the roof everywhere. 4.9 on Facebook, 4.8 off of Google, with hundreds of. They say that it's a cozy tap room here. It's a brew pub.
Alberta has a lot of great breweries. They really do. The problem with Alberta is that it's Alberta.
Yeah, so we're there, yeah. And then is Dan here?
Beer Zerker 80, Viking Zerker, all that. I love all of you guys. It's just Alberta's Alberta. I mean, it's like
it's far.
I live in Quebec now. But for the most part, people were like, Quebec's Quebec, right? Like, why don't you like Quebec? Well, it's Quebec. Why don't you like Alberta? It's Alberta. Like, what the fuck? It's Canada's Bible Belt. I mean,
it's the deep south of Canada. That's what I always call it.
I haven't had a lot of stuff from Alberta, because really Alberta's breweries don't distribute outside of Alberta often. It's the way their provincial laws work and everything like that. So I haven't had a lot of Alberta beers, unless it's stuff that Jordan sent me before Jordan jumped off the fucking cliff, or Lee Mathot sent me before he moved, or Dan sent me. I haven't had anything from Dan, Lee, or Jordan in several years. So, well, actually, no, I think Dan sent me something last year 2 years ago, before I moved from Ontario, before I moved from Niagara Falls to Welland. I think he sent me a box. So about 2 or 3 years ago.
You mean Dan Croker?
Yeah. So I haven't had anything from Dan in a while. I haven't had anything from the other two in years. So I haven't really had anything from Alberta in a while. So I don't know a lot about Alberta other than the older breweries that have been around for a while that I had things sent to me by them from. BC is another one where I know a lot of BC breweries, but the BC breweries I know are things that were sent to me by Steve. I haven't had anything from BC in
I haven't had any of those provinces in a while.
Yeah, like it's been I don't have connections in those provinces anymore, so I don't get stuff from those provinces.
Yeah, I think
it is just the way it works, right? Like
I think
I don't have enough connections in Ontario.
I think the only Alberta beers I've had was at your place 4 years ago. The first time I went there. Can't remember exactly which one. No, it was Jordan. Remember, it was right when Jordan, you had a thing with Jordan. He sent you that beer.
Right before you're right. Right before Jordan went nutso on us, he sent me a beer mail, and there was some stuff from Alberta, and there was some stuff from BC. And it showed up about 3 weeks before the beer festival, so I saved the stuff for when you guys got there.
Yeah.
You are right.
And it was that one beer, which is like that we could barely open it because of the wax on top of it was so hard. Whatever you call it. So, yeah. Common Crown Brewing. Never heard of them, but apparently it's the best in Canada. It's here. They got their core beers, the Brewmaster Blonde Ale, the Plowman. Is it Plowman or Plowman? Ploughman. Plowman. Wheat Ale. the Journeyman IPA, Coppersmith Brown Ale.
You know how many breweries make a Plowman Wheat Ale?
A what?
The Plowman Wheat Ale. There's
Plowman
like
Wheat
5
Ale.
different breweries that I know. I know 5 different breweries that make a wheat ale named Plowman. Grand River was one of them.
Really? I don't know. I mean, that word to me is just plowman. It seems too much like a porn innuendo, like a plowman. Well, anyways, I'm looking at a map right now. It's right near downtown Calgary. It's right next to Tool Shed Brewing Company, and maybe like
brewery.
Yeah, that you know. It's probably walking distance from Highline Brewing, Golden Garden Beverage Company, Last Best Brewing. There's like a whole bunch of breweries like right next to each other.
Oh, those are all breweries that Dan frequents.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll talk to him. I'll ask him if he's been to Common Crown. I mean, we'll probably see him later on tonight. Actually, unless he's probably talking to. Oh, you don't want to talk to Dan?
Oh, I don't have a problem with Dan. I like Dan. Dan's a good guy. What the fuck is this? Renewal is a breeze. I don't want a renewal of shit. Fuck you. This is a laptop that never gets used. Yourself. I'm actually amused that the internet is working this well with a snowstorm going on.
Yeah, I haven't seen you cut off. All right, so what other kind of beer? Let's see here. Canadian Brewing Company 2020 flavored stout? No? Yes?
Sure, let's do a flavored stout. What one is flavored stout?
It's called UVB-76 Maxime from Wellington.
Okay, I do know that beer.
You had it?
I haven't had it. I've never had it, but I know that beer.
Huh. Let's see here. Wellington Brewery. It's called UVB. Fuck, I saw a lot of Wellingtons when I went there, and I didn't see that one. Probably like a Saison or something.
So, guys, you got to talk to us. Chat us up. Oh my God, I'm wearing a kilt right now, and that's the reason I have to keep getting up.
You're wearing a kilt in the Arctic.
Yeah.
I thought you were Irish, not Scottish.
Yeah, I went out in my kilt and my muscle shirt today, and they all looked at me like I was insane.
What's the temperature up there?
I walked into the store. Today it wasn't bad. It was like -5.
It was 21 degrees.
January and February. January and February are the bad months.
Yeah. 4.1 out of 5 for that beer on Untapped. And it's won the flavored stout at the 2020 Canadian whatever. Do you want to know what the Wood and Barrel Aged Sour Beer Award was?
Sure.
Abricotine or Abricotine from Microbrasserie La Souche in Quebec. Never heard of it.
And what were the other two?
What's that?
What was silver and bronze?
Uncertainty Principle number 6 from Nickelbrook. That one I've had. It was actually really good.
I have.
Well, you finally cut down there for a second. It's got good reviews on Untapped, both of them. But no, I did have the Uncertainty Principle number 6 a couple of months ago. It was one time when I went to the LCBO and I'm like, oh, it's a new Nickelbrook, and I got that. Every time I see a new Nickelbrook, I buy it. And that one, if I remember correctly, was very good. I'm usually not a fan of anything other than IPAs, but that was actually pretty good. Bronze was 4 barrel-aged golden sour with plum and lingonberry from Fulmer's Folly Brewing, British Columbia. Huh.
So, you know, the only guy that has everything set if things go really haywire in the world of COVID-19, Ryan Moreau, the brewmaster at Nickelbrook, who is also the brewmaster at Collective Arts, who is also the brewmaster of his own brewery, and who is also the brewmaster for the Norwegian company that does some contract brewing in Nickelbrook. So
really?
this guy has 4 breweries that have to fold before he loses his job.
Well, fuck. I mean, he's doing pretty good. I mean, and Nickelbrook is doing pretty good. I'm guessing.
Yes.
I hope. Let's see here. Wood and barrel aged strong beer. No? Yes?
Sure.
Gold. Tempestari Sour Cherry Saison from Low Life Barrel House, Manitoba. Ugh.
Manitoba.
Yeah. We don't hear very much
Where
about
in
breweries from
Manitoba?
Manitoba.
In Manitoba?
It just says Manitoba. Hang on, I'll try to find that out. Find that out.
It's not like Manitoba has a lot of cities you could be in. You're like Winnipeg, Brandon, or the Paw. Where else the fuck are you going to be? Puckatawagan? You're not fucking brewing in Puckatawagan.
It's in Winnipeg.
Okay, I did not even hear about that place. When I was in Winnipeg, I never even seen the name of that place. I had a whole month in Winnipeg.
When was this, though?
October last year.
Okay, well, they've been around for at least 3 years because this the Low Life Barrel House, it says here, has they had reviews for about 31 months now, so just less than 3 years.
Me and Alicia went to about 12 breweries in Winnipeg while we were there for that month. And there was some great beer there. Winnipeg actually has a fairly beautiful beer scene. Just you got to get over the like 13 murders in 1 month type of thing before you can think about how awesome the beer scene is. But especially because it's not a big city, right? It's a city, it's a metropolitan, but it's like the only metropolitan in the entire fucking province.
Yeah. And it's, of course, the coldest friggin' city ever. I mean, other than where you live.
I'm not even all that cold. I mean, my father-in-law's in the high Arctic. He's up in Cambridge Bay. It's actually cold there. We're in Pavernatuck. It's not that bad. Pavernatuck's nice. It's kind of Ottawa weather most of the winter. Like I think, well, we were told last year was a mild winter, and I think the coldest we had one day at like -50. And a couple days at -40, but not many days above like -35. So kind of like an Ottawa winter.
Okay, where was I? Barley wine style ale, English style or American style. Gold, barrel aged Ape Index barley wine from the OT Brewing Company, Alberta. Never heard of it. And I've never had a barrel-aged barley wine. I don't think so. Those usually generally good.
Some of them are. Like the Beard of Zeus was awesome.
Have you ever heard of the OT? Have you heard of the OT Brewing Company?
I've never heard of those guys. No.
Second place, silver was a Pereplut barley wine from Blind Man Brewing, Alberta. Bronze.
Okay, I know Blind Man Brewing.
Bronze was the Barley Wine Edition 2019 from Ferme Brasserie Schun in Quebec. Ferme Brasserie Schun. Smoked beer. Gold Prairie Fire Rausch beer from Town Square Brewing, Alberta. Silver Moosehead Small Batch Rausch beer from Moosehead Breweries. Moosehead Small Batch Rauch beer. I never heard of that one.
In New Brunswick, Moosehead does a lot of small batch stuff.
For them, yeah.
And apparently it's all pretty good. I've not had any of it, but apparently it's pretty good.
I remember Nick having a couple of weeks ago. I'm wondering if one of them wasn't that one, and he said they were really good. Do you want to know herb and spice beer? I never taste those. Fuck, I hate spice beer. Gold is Aki Nosation from Ypon, Quebec. What the fuck? I think it's like a Quebec brewery that specializes in Japanese style beers, I guess. Because it's Aki. It's 3 words: Aki no Seishin, and the brewery's name is IPPON. Ypon. Anyway, silver.
I should have. Sorry, I'm looking for my Ganja Fuzzy Peaches or my Extreme Gummy Bears, but I can't find them.
Gummy bears?
Yes, my pot gummy bears.
Yeah, you got to eat a lot of those to survive the winter.
Oh fuck, man! These things are so strong. It takes one of them, and I think I'm the drunkest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, gummy bears get you drunk? What?
They get me high. They're
Oh.
they're THC gummy bears.
Oh,
I just can't
okay,
find
okay.
them. They're somewhere in this drawer, but I can't fucking find them.
Do you want to know what the experimental beer award was?
Sure.
Moosehead Shaker Tropical Pina Colada from Moosehead Breweries in Brunswick. I guess that's got to be another one from. It's only in New Brunswick. Still kind of. I wouldn't mind wondering how that tastes actually. Moosehead Shaker Tropical Pina Colada. Oh. Silver was Red Racer Street Legal IPA from Red Racer, British Columbia.
Oh shit.
Bronze was Lawyers, Guns, and Honey from Bent Stick Brewing Company, Alberta. Session Ale. Gold, Abbey Lane English Mild, Ribstone Creek Brewery from Alberta. Azaka Session IPA from Propeller Brewing Company, from Nova Scotia. Nick talks about that one all the time. Propeller Brewing Company.
I think we could talk about Propeller a lot too, because Propeller was one of the first.
Yeah, maybe it's Leo I was thinking about. Yeah, I think it's not far from where he lives actually. So yeah, he's the Azaka, well AZACCA, so Azaka or Azaka Session IPA. That one was silver. Setting Day PEI Brewing Company from Prince Edward Island. PEI has a brewing company called PEI Brewing Company. Do you know any much of those?
You know what? Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland both have a couple breweries, and they're another one of those places where I always, at least once a year, I get somebody from one of those breweries that contacts me and is like, "Hey, we want to send you beer to review," and I'm like, "Okay, here's my address," and then guess what never happens. There's never beer sent to me.
They're probably thinking, "Oh shit, that's a lot."
I don't ever. This is the thing. I don't understand how a business doesn't know how to ship things cheaper. If you go to Canada Post and they're like, "Oh, it's going to be like $35 for you to ship these 5 cans of beer to Ontario," you go, "You know what? Give me a flat rate box. Bang! It's set."
Yeah.
Oral spray. Anyway, so I don't get this weird thing of, going, "Hey, we want to send you something," and then never sending it. Don't even come to me, because I have never once gone to a brewery and gone, "Give me free beer."
Yeah.
Not once have I gone to a brewery asking for the beer. I've had stuff offered to me before when I'm at a brewery. I always offer to pay for it, and then they tell me to take it. And I offer to pay for it again, and they tell me to take it. And then I buy something, be it a shirt or whatever, just to help, give them back money for what they've just given me for free. But I've never gone in and been like, "Give me free beer." So when they contact me about beer and they're like, "We want to send this to you," well, you came to me. Like, now you like, if I wanted to, there's about 14 breweries that I have emails where they're like 5 emails long, like going back and forth from people going, "We want to send you this and this and this, and we want you to do this." Okay, I'm up to do that. Okay, we're going to send it, and then it just never shows. And Newfoundland is one of them. Quiddy Viddy. They have asked me to take their beer like 9 different times, and 9 different times it hasn't been sent to me. And I saved every one of those emails in case I ever want to be an asshole and be like, "Hey, look at this company, and this is what they do." Again, you contacted me. I didn't come to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. I want to support a brewery. I want to try the beer out of Iqaluit. Iqaluit has Nunavut Brewing Company. I want to try their beer. I've been trying to get a buddy of mine.
There's a Nunavut beer company?
Yes. And I've been trying to get a buddy of mine that works for my company in Nunavut. I've been trying to get him to go and buy me the cans and send them to me. And I'm like, "Tell me exactly how much the cans cost, and then I'll send you that money, and I'll also send you the $30 for the box." And he's like, "Okay." I've asked him like 6 times now, and it still hasn't happened. So I'm not going to ask anymore. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, this is one where I'm not even going to the brewery. I'm going to a buddy of mine and this buddy of mine's always like, "Hey, Chad, I just bought a pair of mittens from somebody in your community. Can you send them to me? Because it's cheaper if you send them to me than what they're asking me to send." send them for it. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Here, this is what it costs me. Send it to me, and he sends it to me. So I've sent him lots of things. So I would expect, hey, I want you to send these back to me. And you go to this brewery all the time, but it hasn't happened. And I'm like, really, what the fuck?
There's a lot. Most of the awards, I don't see anything from Ontario in there. It's all Alberta, Nova Scotia. Now I see the first in the American style black ale is the Black Rock from Stack Brewing. Yeah, know anything about Stack Brewing? I don't think of it.
I know a lot about Stack Brewing, and I would never think the Black Rock would be a fucking award-winning beer. Never in my wildest dreams would I think Stack is an award-winning beer.
I've never had the Black Rock. It's
I've had a lot of their beers. I've had a couple of Black Rocks. They're not bad beer. It's not something I would be like, hey. I have a Hogue Garden 0% alcohol beer next.
Oh God. So North American style blonde or golden ale. Gold was Belmont Village from Red Circle Brewing, Ontario. Red Circle Brewing. Okay. Where's that?
So I'm going to get on this. I've done this a few times. Cardinal Flores. What the hell are you trying to say? So you come on to almost every live stream and say that. So what are you trying to say? We've gone over this several times. I live in the Arctic. I'm above the 60th parallel. I am nowhere near these motherfuckers anymore. Ali Alejandro stopped coming to the Albino Rhino beer review when I said that, hey, you got to start throwing in like $5 a night for us to buy the 2-4 that you just drink when you're not reviewing. He didn't want to do that, so he stopped coming. He wanted me to continue to buy a 2-4 of beer as well as all the beer we were reviewing for him to get drunk for free. The Man-Child, awesome guy, hasn't been coming out. Mostly because I now live somewhere where it's like a $3,000 round trip flight from here to Montreal and back. Man-Child.
That's the guy that looks like me.
Yes, he's the guy. He's the guy in the army. He stopped doing beer reviews mostly because he kept going to Meaford and having to do training. The punter had a kid and stopped coming out, and the punter's wife was a good friend of my ex-wife, so she didn't like him hanging out with me anymore. The Honey Monster. The Honey Monster is the Honey Monster. He's a fucking guy too. If the Honey Monster couldn't get somewhere for free, he wasn't going there, and Boychuk stopped bringing it. The Reverend. When I left St. Catharines and moved to Niagara Falls, the Reverend moved to Welland. So Boychuk would have to drive to Welland, pick up the Reverend, and bring him to the Falls. Then I moved to Welland, and I actually moved to a 5-minute walk away from where the Reverend lived. And I was in that house for over a year. The Reverend did not make that walk once in that year. And every week I would be like, hey, you want to hang out? We had the same nights off, the exact same nights off. I'm like, hey, you want to hang out sometime? We can do some reviews, or we can watch some movies, or we can play some video games. We can do whatever you want. And not once did the Reverend make that walk. So I don't understand what that comment is saying. Like, where are they? They're all living their life. Where am I? I'm in the motherfucking Arctic. That's where I am. I'm in the place where there's nothing but ATVs, skidoos, and dogs for the most part.
And wolves. Are there wolves?
Some wolves, yeah. There's wolves.
Have you seen them? Or have you heard them?
There was a couple wolves in town.
I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back.
So again, guys, comments, questions, concerns, throw them out. We'll get to them. Thank you for watching so far. It's been great having you here. It's been an amazing time. I love every time I get to spend with anybody because I see nobody. I get this all the time too, right? Actually, my eldest daughter just did it tonight. She was crying to her mom that she misses her friends, and that's great. So we get that you miss your friends. We get that you're homesick. It's understandable. We've been up here for a full year now. We never thought there was going to be a pandemic that locked us up here and that we wouldn't be able to go south and see our family and friends. But it happened. And she was crying that she misses her friends and all that. And Alicia was like, well, so do we. We have no friends up here. She goes, yes, we do. She goes, no, we have coworkers. We go to work, we come home. That's what our life is. We go to work, we come home. We go to work, we come home. She's like, well, I don't do anything either. You go to school and you come home. So you get as much social interaction. Well, you get more social interaction than we do. We have to interact with either our subordinates or our boss. That's what we get to interact with, and that's it. That's our interaction. Our entire interaction up here is with either our employees or the one person that's above us in position. So it's hard on everybody, and it is what it is. And I think I get more frustrated when I'm scrolling Facebook and seeing people complaining about just things going on in the South for COVID-19. You know, like I have to wear a face mask and this and that. I get so pissed off when I read people going, I want to go out to this. I want to see my fucking kids. I haven't seen my children in over a year now. One of my kids is living in a fucking group home now because that kid was supposed to move up here to be with us for a while. And he wasn't allowed to fly because of COVID-19, so his mom put him in a group home. My other two kids, I'm slowly losing because they keep getting told that their dad has left them for a new family. You know what? That's not what happened. I miss all three of my kids. I want to see my kids. So every single time I see some motherfucker in the South complaining about how his rights are being infringed or this and that, well, I am locked in the Arctic and cannot get home to see my kids. I want to write their name down, find out exactly where they live, and when I travel south next year, walk to their house, knock on their door, and punch them in the throat. That's what I want to do right now. Because that's how angry I'm getting reading all this bullshit from people who have fucking no understanding of anything other than their own little life. I haven't seen my kids in a year. You know what I'm doing? I'm wearing my mask. I'm washing my hands. I'm not fucking bitching. Because I just want this shit to be over so I can see my kids. Fuck your fucking stupid fucking privileged piece of fucking shit bullshit. Grow the fuck up. Fucking thing that's like Nazi fucking Germany and shit like that. I want to fucking eat people with a fucking hammer.
There, I'm back.
Sorry for Hulu and anyone else watching right now. I had to go on that little tirade. I am a little angry. And like I said, it bothers me, one, that he wasn't allowed to fly up here. He was supposed to come up here and live with us. He wasn't allowed to because of COVID-19. I haven't been allowed to go south to see my kids because of COVID-19. So when I see, I want to go to a restaurant, I want to fucking murder you. That's what I want to do. Every single time I see shit like that. No, I'm saying that like you were pissing while I was having that conversation. I was saying that I've been up here for over a year now. I haven't seen my kids in over a year.
Oh shit!
Nobody expected that we would be locked up here because of a pandemic. Because part of the way they protected from the pandemic up here is they closed all the borders. You can't get up here. You can't get south. You are stuck in the Arctic.
It's the same
There's
thing.
Nowhere to go.
It's the same thing as us going to. We can't go to out east, the Maritimes. We surpassed yesterday. We had a record of 1,062 cases, while Nova Scotia had 0. Yeah, I wouldn't want Ontarians to come here if I'd be living there. You know?
No, and I understand that. I'm just saying, like, I'm tired of scrolling Facebook and seeing people bitching about how they can't go to a restaurant or they can't do this or they can't do that. You know what I can't do? I can't hold my kids. I have a kid living in a group home right now because he wasn't allowed to move home with his daddy. He wanted to, his mommy didn't want him, and he wanted to move home with his daddy. And he asked to move with his daddy. His mommy asked if he could live with his daddy, and the Quebec government said no, and the Nunavut government said no. So guess what? He's now in a group home. So when I hear
your ex-wife, your ex-wife doesn't have the kid. Your kid
doesn't have the oldest. The other two she still has. The oldest is in a group home. But
how old is he now?
So when I hear he's 10, when I hear I can't do this or I can't go to the movies or I can't go to a bar, I just want to punch you in the throat. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's all to get likes on Facebook, anyways.
Yeah, no, it's moronic. You know what? We're all in things. We all have our own things we're dealing with. If you fucking think that not being able to go to a bar is the worst thing in your life, there's problems. I feel for the people that are losing their businesses. I do. That's what this whole thing, whole hang out without talking about that type of stuff and what people are going through. It's understandable. I understand that you're sad that you're losing your business or you're losing your livelihood or you're losing this, you're losing that. I understand that. You know what? If people had just fucking closed the border, and when I say people, this is the government too. If the border had just been closed right away, close the border, lock people down for 6 weeks, Canada would be fucking fine. But no, we kept the borders open. We told people to come home, and they didn't come home. And then after they didn't come home, they still were allowed to come home. And then they were told to fucking quarantine, and they didn't quarantine. We had all this shit happening, and then we have all the other shit happening, and then we have all the shit happening with every. I
All
live
the
in an
kids
Inuit
having
village.
house parties.
I live in an Inuit village. This is an Inuit community. You know how great it is being a white guy up here while there's the bullshit happening in Nova Scotia? Like, you know what? I don't agree with the things that are happening in Nova Scotia. Here's the, like, it's, and then I'm dealing with that on top of not seeing my kids and everything else, right? Like, people think that their life is the only thing that matters. The reason why some European countries have done well and some Asian countries have done well is because they are a community-focused country. North America is me, 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 and it always has been.
It's
and
the
not gonna
entitlement
change it.
age. We're in the age of entitlement. You know, there was the Middle Ages, there was the Classical Ages, and there's the entitlement age, which is what we're living now. It's probably going to last a few hundred years. It's the rate we're going. Where's Guy?
Forrest? Where's Guy? That
Cardinal
would be
Flores.
you, James.
Yeah, well, I was with Guy. We'll just go on his YouTube channel, Drinking in Canada. I was with him at a hotel. We drank. I think I tested 9 beers. Well, yeah, we reviewed at least 9. I think. I don't know if he even knows he has his own. Well, he probably knows that it's Drinking in Canada. But yeah, the last 1, 2. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 beers that we reviewed that one night. So by the end of the night, I was feeling pretty fairly merry. You know, I was just a couple of maybe another beer more, and I would have been completely newscasted. So yeah, I got you the link there, Cardinal Flores. That's me, Radar, and those last 12 videos.
So there's 8 people watching right now. Talk to us. Say hi. Ask a question. Do something. I have like 45 minutes left, and I got to make this bed before my wife comes to bed, or I will never be getting laid again in my life. And you know, I like getting laid, so I got to get off before the 45 minutes is up. So talk to us, chat with us, do something. Talk to us.
Yes.
And let's talk about happier things than fucking COVID and my kids and racism and systemic racism and all that. Let's not talk about any of that. You know what? It's all. There's nothing that I can do. I can't even bring
over there.
I can't even bring any. Well, I can't even bring any light to the subject because I know it exists. I've fought my hardest to do stuff about it. I've fought my hardest to make people understand things about it, on both sides of the issue. But it's never going to change because nobody wants it to change. Is what it comes down to. It's not going to change until everybody sucks it up and everybody forgives each other and moves on and tries to fix things. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. And I mean, it's done in a way. It's done in a way that is made to create more tension, because part of the problem is nobody teaches any of our real history in school. When we were in Winnipeg doing our head office training, one of the things we did was a cultural awareness course, and it was a 3-day course, and part of the course was we had to go to the human rights museums and all that. You don't realize just how disgusting Canadian history is until you've walked through the Human Rights Museum.
Oh yeah. Even at the Civilization Museum here in Ottawa, they don't tell you the whole thing. Have you seen any good movies lately?
You've been a fan of us since Justin TV. Oh fuck, that was a long time ago, man. That's when we all would just get together and get drunk and shit faced, and we would record the videos, but we would also put them up on YouTube afterwards and all that shit. It was a lot of fun. Have I seen any good videos lately?
Good movies, yeah.
Latasian, we'll get to that in 1 second. Actually, you know what? We'll do that while we think about any good movies lately. What is the original cast up to? Okay.
Boychuk's the guy with the car, right? That old Ford.
Boychuk is a mechanic, still is a mechanic, does car shows, all that type of stuff. The Reverend is running a tattoo parlor in Welland. He's the manager there. The Honey Monster is doing Honey Monster stuff, so basically nothing. I believe he is still unemployed or working at a call center. I don't even know. He's still living with the cartoon. The cartoon's at his place, and the cartoon has a kid. He did a bunch of food science courses and everything else. The man-child's still in the army doing his army stuff. The commander is married to somebody else with another kid now. The Booberry is still being the Booberry, just drinking and having fun and working every once in a while. Salvation Army is still doing the army stuff. Exactly what he's doing, I'm not 100% sure, because he was a friend of the man-child more than myself. The redheaded Step Nothing is no longer dating the Salvation Army, so I have no clue what's going on with her. The nun is working as a librarian. Good night, I love you. What else do we got going on there? Who else was there? Fuck. The Pants and the other husband are still married. Phalix, the husband, I have no clue what's going on with Phalix, the husband. Rayman died. He had a massive heart attack and died. Who else was even back then? Ali Alejandro, again, I have no idea. He stopped coming when we said you had to start donating some money towards the 2-4 that you just drink on your own. The punter and the puntette are still married. They have a child together. They're doing their thing. My ex-wife is doing her thing. Who else did we have back then? I'm trying to think of which one of my friends. Oh, the Cantankerous Cook is an electrician now. So he is having a lot of fun doing that. He was a locksmith for a bit too. Hi, honey. Or don't say hi. It's okay. I love you too. Maybe I'm in trouble for something I didn't know about. Who else was in the cast? I can't even remember if there was anyone else in the original cast. Ken, Boychuk, Auckland. Yeah, I think that's the cartoon Honey Monster. I think that was the Ginger Snatch. She was married, then she got divorced. I don't know if she's married to this new guy or not. She has a couple kids. Yeah, everybody went on their own way, right? We all just vamoosed. We were all doing this at a time where we needed to do it, and things happened where you didn't need it as much. We all needed something to take our mind off of something that was happening in our life at the time. Me more so than the others, because I had to stop thinking about my life and how I wanted to destroy my life and end it. So that's the only reason this all started, was because I was trying to find a way to get out of being around my ex-wife, to be honest. I mean, it was my out. It was my way of getting away and not thinking about what was going on in my life. And then it evolved, and the reason why the videos went from things that we put a lot of work into, well, I put a lot of work into, to being just straight up off the phone or off the computer, is because I ended up finding things I wanted to do. I wanted to start working out. I wanted to be around Alicia. I wanted to be better for my kids. I wanted a better life for myself. So things changed where I didn't put as much time into this. And that's why, again, the videos have no fucking post-production or anything. They're just recorded and uploaded because I don't want to put. I still like drinking beer. I still like giving my thoughts on beer. I still like all that stuff. I don't like putting all the time into it because I put all the time into it to erase a part of my life and give myself something else, give myself an out. I'm glad you appreciate that. No, I don't work at the casino anymore, Carnal. Again, for the fourth time tonight, I live in the Arctic now. I live in Arctic Canada. I live in Nunavik. There is no casinos. There is no restaurants. There is no stores. There's nothing. There is dog sleds, skidoos, ATVs, and like 1,800 people. Some of the most amazing people I've met, and some people that piss me off. But I mean, that's going to be anywhere you go in the world. I work a job. I have a life expectancy at this job. And then I'm hoping to be out on the East Coast. When it's all done, I hope to be out on the East Coast. It's me, my wife, my two kids that I inherited it through her, my two dogs, and that's what we have up here. Yeah, that's where I am. I'm in Arctic Canada. I'm in Pevernatook. I love it up here. It's beautiful. It's quiet. I like quiet. I do. I am a country guy at heart. I've always been a country guy. I've hated the cities. So moving up here, people up here are always like, "Oh, don't you miss the South?" Not really. I miss going to the odd restaurant here and there. I miss going to the movies. I miss that type of stuff, but I don't really miss the cities or the South. To be honest, I miss my friends. I miss my kids. I miss some of the amenities that I had in the South because you don't realize how much you take cell phone service for granted until you have none. You don't realize how much you take actual good internet service until you have none. You don't realize how much you take fucking McDonald's for granted until you can't fucking buy any. Right? I've been ordering I order from there's a grocery store in the South that used to be where I buy most of my beer. And one of the things they'll do for you is they'll go out to different restaurants and stuff, buy stuff, freeze it, and send it to you. I bought fucking donuts from them from Tim Hortons. They've sent me up dozens of donuts from Tim Hortons frozen. You don't realize just how minuscule things are missed until you can't ever get them. You know how much I want a Boston cream donut at times? Like how much I'm like, oh my God, I want a Boston cream right the fuck now. I can't get one, but I want one. Like,
yeah, where's the nearest Tim Hortons from where you live?
Kujarapik.
What?
It's another Nunavik community. Couple communities south of me and on the west coast, on the east coast, sorry, not on my coast.
So you can drive there on your polar bear or snowmobile.
There's no roads. I can fly there.
Oh, really? Do people have cars there?
You don't want to there's a couple cars in town. There's not a lot. There's roads throughout town. There's no roads going anywhere because there's nowhere to go on a road. Where am I going to go? To the polar bear den down the fucking road? Like, there's nowhere to go. There's
a polar bear den?
Well, there's a polar bear den somewhere. There's polar bears around me.
Have you seen them?
Have I seen a polar bear?
Yeah.
No, not a live one. I've seen a dead polar bear. Why did I move here? For work. When we decided to do this, we sold everything we owned. We sold everything. We moved up here with something like 20 Plano boxes full of our stuff and 3 suitcases each. We sold everything we owned. Our goal is to pay off all of our debts and save up enough money to buy a house outright on the East Coast, and then move out to either Nova Scotia, PEI, or New Brunswick. New Brunswick is the number one choice, but we don't care which one of the 3 we end up in. We just want that slower paced life. And I know there's the whole idea of there's no jobs out in the East Coast. No, there isn't really a lot of jobs out there. Most of the jobs out there are minimum wage, and that's what people tell you is, oh, you don't want to move out here, it's minimum wage jobs. you know what? If I have no mortgage, no car payment, and no credit debt, minimum wage is fucking heavenly. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but if you have no debt, you can easily live on minimum wage. It's just if you have to pay rent, if you have to pay mortgage, if you have to pay that stuff, minimum wage is not easy to live on. If all
hard.
I'm paying,
I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and it's tough.
I'm not taking it away from anybody. I understand that if you have rent and all that, minimum wage is hard. What I'm saying is, if I have absolutely no bills, and all I'm paying is my phone, my cable if I have it, my internet, my heat, and my property taxes, and my water and my food. Two of us working minimum wage, we can live perfectly happily. I mean, you need more money as you and next, Carnal Flores. Am I in Saskatchewan, bro? No, I'm in the Arctic. What part of the Arctic is
who is this guy?
Go look at a map. Over the 60th parallel. That's where I am. I'm in Nunavik. Nunavik is northern Quebec. It's its own land, part of the St. James Bay Accord. It's its own land in northern Quebec. It is Pavernatuk, Quebec is where I live. It's in Nunavik. It's on the same level as something like, say, well, not Arctic Bay, but like Arviat. We're basically on the same level as Arviat, Nunavik. So we are the Arctic. We are above Saskatchewan. We are above BC. We are above Ontario.
You're above the Arctic Circle, aren't you?
We're part of the Arctic Circle. We're up there. There's Arctic 1 and Arctic 2 when you do your taxes. We're Arctic 2, which is the most money comes back to you. We're where there's the Nutrition North Canada, where they actually pay to fly food to you. There's no roads up here. There ain't a road anywhere near here. You fly. You fly from Montreal to La Grande. La Grande is the very end of the road. There's no roads past La Grande because what the fuck are you going to? And then you fly up here. You can kill belugas up here. You can kill narwhals. You can see Arctic foxes. You can see elk. You can see caribou, wolves, polar bears. They're basically out of animals at that point. Arctic char is the fish that's eaten up here for the most part.
What about other whales, like those big right whales, or whatever? Maybe those are more north.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know what I've seen or I've seen people hunting. There's a beluga. There's only so many belugas allowed to be killed in each community. So during beluga season, they all like fight over who's going to get the beluga. Right? They're all out there trying to get that beluga. That beluga's worth that beluga's fucking coin. You get the beluga. Is there any brothers where you stay at? Well, what do we mean by brothers? Are we talking people of African American descent? My daughter is African American, so she's here. Actually, there is probably just about. I would say it's probably even with the amount of Caucasians in where I am. I would probably say there's something like there's probably like 1,800 Inuit, and then maybe 100 each of African Americans and Caucasians, and splatter in a couple Asian cultures.
Shit.
No, I've never eaten beluga. I've never it's not as much a new camera as I need a new place to do this, and I need real internet. I need Elon Musk's fucking SpaceX satellite dishes up here ASAP to get past this fucking come on internet.
Oh, he's too busy sending a car up to space.
Have I ever eaten beluga? No, I haven't had beluga. I've had caribou and Nukuk, which is Nukuk is caribou jerky. Caribou is not my thing. My wife was given some free caribou from one of the locals up here, and she wrapped it with bacon and everything else. And she was told you need to use a lot of fat to render it tender. I did not enjoy it. Nobody really enjoyed it except for our daughter, our youngest daughter, but she eats caribou she eats country food at daycare all the time. So country food is traditional Inuit food. Yeah, I haven't had. They have something called sky berries up here that kind of look like raspberries, but they're like yellow and white. And I want to try some of those, but we didn't get any picking done this year because we didn't know where to go. And we'll figure it out for next year because I want to try some of those. But yeah, no, I haven't had any beluga. Caribou is the one I've had. I had a guy offer me. I forget the proper name for it, but it was dried Arctic char, and I didn't want dried Arctic char. I don't like fish to begin with, and the dried fish looks disgusting to me, so I just didn't want anything to do with it. But it's been offered to me too. The people, like I said, there's a lot of some of the most amazing people you're ever going to meet in the Arctic. And just like anywhere else, there's some people that aren't as amazing as the other people. But the people that are amazing and make you go, oh, shit, why the fuck didn't I move up here earlier? And the people that aren't amazing make you go, oh, fuck, why did I move up here? The people that are amazing want to introduce you to things and want to involve you in things. And that's great. And I do try almost anything that's offered to me. I did say no to the fish because I've never liked fish at all, and I didn't want to offend anybody, really, is what I came down to. I even told the guy, I'm like, I love that you offer me things. I love that you share things with me, and thank you very much for it. I love that you introduce me to this stuff. It's always great. I've never liked fish since I was a kid. This is why I didn't like fish since I was a kid. So I don't want to waste the little bit of fish you have trying it because I know I'm not going to like it. So thank you very much for the offer. Eat it yourself, give it to somebody else, give it to somebody that needs it. I'm fat. I don't need it. Currently eating poutine here in Saskatchewan, bro. I miss poutine, like real good poutine. I'm not in Winnipeg or Ontario. I am in Pavernatuk currently, which is in Nunavik. Good day, Brian. What's going on? Yes, Jay, I'm in the Arctic. That's what I was actually in Winnipeg doing. I was training with my head office. So head office does your training in Winnipeg, and then they ship you to the Arctic. And I've been in the Arctic ever since. Looking at beers here between my legs. I might shoot some more oral spray since I don't know where my gummies are. Hey, Brian, look what I found. What else do we have down here between my legs? Hey! Ha! Should I keep this or drink it?
What is that? Oh!
Hey, Bird!
Who sent you that?
Nobody sent it to me. It was part of the Amazing Clubs thing. But yeah, so I have some Abe Herb here. A brewery that no longer exists. I might sit on this for a little bit longer. Let's see if I can figure out where this one was brewed. This one was a Waterloo Brewing. Just looking at what I have down here. Budweiser? We can drink some Bud. Let's have a Bud. This was a $65 12-pack of Bud. Oh, Cthulhu, that's great that you're smoking the shatter. I found one company that sells shatter. I've been told not to worry about the shatter from that company that is no good. I've never had it. I have a whole drawer full of stuff, be it oral sprays or loose or pre-rolled. It's cold here. I don't want to go outside and smoke that stuff. So I was looking for my gummies, but I can't find my gummies. I don't know where my gummies are. I also have some earrings and stuff here, right? I have Ulu earrings made out of caribou bone. I have Inukshuk earrings made out of caribou bone. Those are for my daughters.
All right, I'll be heading out there, Chad. Bye.
Alrighty, you have a good night.
Bye now, Rhino.
I have a
Enjoyed that
polar bear head made out of caribou bone.
I'll see you later.
Alrighty, sir. Have a good one. Yes, sir. $65. I guess I can take these out now. There's nobody here. Nobody wants to talk to me. It's just me and you guys. You guys got to talk to me now. Yeah, so $65 for a 12-pack of Bud. There's $75 12 packs of Molson Dry. $85 12 packs of Rickard's Red, or $100 12 packs of Alexander Keith's. Those are the beers that you can choose from up here. People very much like to think that any company up here selling stuff is cheating people because of how high the prices are. This is all because of how much it costs to ship things up here. You're looking at disgusting amounts charged, and it's mostly because there's only one airline that comes up here, so that airline can charge whatever they want. So again, you're looking at things that are disgusting priced, and they're going to be disgusting priced because it is a monopoly, and again, they can do whatever they want. What do we got going on here? I don't know who is on the package of that one, Cthulhu. It was told to me it's from Ganja Express in BC. Is who they told me not to buy their shatter. Same place some of this stuff is from. Like this here is grapefruit. No, wait. This is the lemon meringue here. So this is the lemon meringue, and unlike government stuff like the SQDC and all that, this stuff actually comes up still pretty moist. Oh my god, that smells amazing. But yeah, it's a lot nicer than government stuff. Like I could rip this apart with my hands. I wouldn't need my grinder for that. So now that I've opened that and sniffed it, I should probably make it up soon. Oh, I've got to get close. I see a bunch more comments. I see even new people commenting. So good day to you. Okay, we got a bunch of new comments. Sorry, guys. Yeah, shipping to the Arctic is not cheap, and that's the big thing, right? I don't do much for work, in all honesty. It's retail work. I'm a store manager. But again, it was the only true way for me to get out of debt. It was the only true way for me to get the future we wanted. We were living paycheck to paycheck in Ontario, and as much as I'm angry, sorry, my kilt is now going in places it shouldn't be. As much as I was angry living in the South, and as much as I'm angry up here not seeing my kids for the year, and as much as I'm angry about a lot of things, I'd be homeless by now if we were in the South, because I would still be jobless, and my wife would have just been able to go back to work, and I would have owed my ex-wife close to $10,000 in back child support by this point in time. So, all in all, the best thing that could have happened was coming up here, but it does kill not seeing my kids. What else do we got going on here? Who's this next one? Ryan Curry. Hey, wondering if you ever tried anything from Wavemaker Brewery in Cambridge. No, never had anything from Wavemaker. Not even something that was ever offered to be shipped up to me by Brad. So I don't know anything about Wavemaker, to be honest. Is shipping disgusting up here? Yeah, but cans of beer can get up here fairly easily. And if you do it right, not for much more than shipping and stuff. But yeah, I've never even really heard anything about Wavemaker. It's one of the breweries I've never had anything from. What do we got next? I'm in Alberta, a welder and out of work, of course. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, Jay. I have to be happy with where I am because of what I'm doing. I gave up a job that was a career to me. I gave up a job with amazing benefits. The benefits I have now are good. They're not as amazing as they were, but they're good. The job I have is fine. There's nothing wrong with the job I have. The pay I have is close to the same as the pay I had in the South, just a lot less bills because the company pays for a lot of the stuff that you deal with. So that's the way we will get out of debt faster, is we don't have to use bills. However, I do like my toys, so I had bought an ATV and a Skidoo, and so I mean, I did have some debt that way, but I am getting that paid off pretty quickly. But yeah, so I have to look on the bright side. Like I said, I hate that I don't see my kids, but I would still be out of work. The casino has not reopened. I would still be out of work. There are a lot of jobs in the Arctic if you're willing to do it. A lot of people don't stay up here, though. They'll take their jobs and they will run. Actually, Jay, there usually is a lot of welding jobs up here. Go to Indeed and look up Yukon Territories, look up Northwest Territories, look up Nunavut. Go to the Nunavut government website. The way things work in Nunavut is the jobs will be offered to Inuit first. So they will post the job to an Inuit person first. If nobody fills that spot in the time it's posted, they'll get reposted to open, and it'll be a year contract. At the end of your year contract, they will repost your job to Inuit only, and if no Inuit has the qualifications to take the job, they will post it again, and you will go on to a 2-year contract. At the end of your 2-year contract, if at the end of your 2-year contract, they will post the job a third time for Inuit only, and if nobody fits the description, nobody fits the qualifications, they'll offer you permanent in Nunavut for jobs like that, be it teaching, be it medical, be it welding, be it trades. That's the way Nunavut works their stuff. There is jobs within. There's two major retailers in the north that are always looking for managers as well. Be it they're in Nunavik or be it they're in Nunavut, they are the two major employers, and there's lots of job opportunity. There really is. Am I a volunteer firefighter now? No, I'm not. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Jay. I'd be completely. Ryan, I don't see myself getting the chance solely because I don't know when I'm getting out of the Arctic. We are supposed to get a trip to the south once a year. We haven't been allowed to fly this year. We kept pushing our vacation back and pushing our vacation back and pushing our vacation back, hoping that we could see my kids. And we're at this point now where it's almost the end of the year and we haven't been able to fly. So we took a week of staycation. We're going to take another week of staycation, and we're going to sell another week of vacation back to the company, because a staycation just drives you nuts. Because what do you do for your staycation? You're here. You don't have any friends in town because you're an outsider. All you do is work, so you stay in your house. A week in my house with the kids that are up here, just going mom, mom, Chad, mom, Chad, mom, Chad, mom, Chad, plus the dogs. It's not a vacation. It really is. So you try to spread it out so that you don't have to go to work, but at the same time, it's frustrating. And when we get to the south, I don't know how much time I'm going to have to do anything that I actually want to do when I get to Ontario next, because well, just because I want to spend every second I have with family, friends, and my kids when I get to the south. So I don't think I will even hit a brewery when I do my first trip back south for the first time, because as much as I love beer and as much as I love the industry and as much as I love everything else, I think that all my time will be with my kids. That's another thing, right? When we talk with the Albinorama Beer Festival, why have I not really put any time into it? Because I've been stuck up here for the full year. And it's not that being up here is a horrible thing, but not seeing my kids to me is a horrible thing. So the thought of wasting 2 or 3 days running the beer festival when I could be with my kids is something that doesn't appeal to me. I want to spend every second that I'm in the South with my kids. I want to be with my family. I want to be with my family, both blood and not blood. And that's what I want when we get to the South. So as much as I want to try the breweries, I don't think I'm going to try anything until 2022 when I'm down again. And that will be when I start going, hey, I have a little bit of extra time. Let's go try this. Let's go try that. But yeah, I don't see it happening. Brian just asked you what you recommend from Wave, Ryan. COVID did hit up here. That's the reason why we've been locked down up here. COVID came up. Somebody flew from Montreal to go visit her family up in I believe it was Inukjuak. No, it was Salouet. They were going to Salouet. So to get to Salouet, you went up either one coast or the other, and they went up through our coast. So we're the hub on our coast. So they landed in Paverntuk, got off the plane, got back on the plane, went the rest of the way to Salouet. So they were the only infected in Salouet. They were locked down right away, and everything was good. In Paverntuk, we jumped from 0 cases to 16 cases, but they were able to contain it at 16 cases, and then it went away. But they closed everything. You weren't even allowed to drive on snowmobile from community to community. If you weren't from that community, you showed up, they were turning you around and sending you away. Then recently, another case popped up in Inukjuak. No, Kanjasujuak. No, Kangrasuk, the one with Timmy's, is the one that had another case pop up. Kangrasuk did. Nunavut was the only place in Canada that had 0 cases. Nunavut technically still has 0 cases, but doesn't have 0 cases because they have something like 8 cases at the Raglan mine. The Raglan mine is a mine there, but it's all workers from the south that have it, and they're something like 100 kilometers away from town, so they consider it its own separate entity. So Nunavut technically still has 0 cases, but doesn't have 0 cases because the mine has cases. Yeah, I actually thought about doing stuff like that, Jay. Doing that stuff. I did think about doing some of the in and out type of things. glad I didn't, because those probably wouldn't really be happening right now either with COVID. And let me tell you, if you were flying me from community to community and then locking me down in the Arctic in a hotel room for 2 weeks between each community, I would go insane. The guys from Spearman that do that, the guys that come up here and do engineering work, I feel for them, because I couldn't do it.
It smells like farts and sadness in here. Anyways, look, I made this for you.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
It smells like farts and sadness.
It smells like farts and sadness. That's funny. I haven't farted yet.
Well, it still smells like farts and sadness. And a lot of beer. And a lot of sadness.
Hi, Gizmo. Hey, buddy. My husky came to see me because he loves me. He probably thinks he probably thinks there's food in here. It's the only reason he comes here. I'm talking to the internet. Hey, get your head out of my beer, motherfucker. Yeah, all those jobs have come to an end, and yeah, that's the thing, right? I would have been jobless again, and so I again look on the bright side of the things that I chose to do, but it's hard at the same time. Yeah, I haven't seen one of those in a very long time.
There's a pool here. It's just never used or ever open. Look, I did embroidery on art. I did embroidery on
I had some masks made by Redbeard's mom. This is one of them. Problem is, you're supposed to shave your beard for a mask to work, and that's not happening. This beard is not being shaved. It's staying. Hi, Gizmo. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Oh, good boy.
it just looks like there's some like
Good boy.
a nose protruding out of that.
Kinda was. Kinda was a nose protruding from the back of my neck. Right, Gizmo? Right, buddy? Right? Yeah. Oh, Gimpy's coming. Oh, here comes Gimpy. I hear him. Where's Gimpy? Hey, Nanook. What you doing, Nanook?
Hey.
Hi, my love. Gonna talk to me this time? Very shortly, yeah. Hi, Nanook.
Yesterday when I was walking to
Who was? How was he sleeping in Harlow's room?
He went in there while my was put her to bed. It didn't want to come out, so I left him there.
Oh, okay. So he was protecting Harlow, eh? Hey, Nanook, you were protecting Harlow? You're such a good boy. Mwah. Such a good
now we're
boy.
watching Crazy Mothers. One of them they were at the like,
How's your
the
paw?
nail tech.
Your paw still hurting you? Yeah, your paw still hurting you?
They were at the nail
Fix
tech.
his lead, too.
What happened to his lead?
You just wrap it down the stairs fair enough, and you can get all the way to the back stairs with the water truck that go up.
Okay.
Watching I Love the Mama's World, they were at the nail tech, and the mom was like, "We're gonna get cucumbers, and you get lemon." She didn't want the girlfriend getting the same scent or whatever of thing because she's being ridiculous.
Okay. Brian, what do we do with our empties up here? Well, for a while, Wraith was collecting them in garbage bags, and then she didn't like that anymore.
No, you have this, all the weird cans that they either don't have barcode or the machine doesn't accept them.
So they have a machine up here, but the machine only accepts beer that is cans that are sold at the co-op. So if it's not something that was bought at the FCNQ, it doesn't accept it. So pop cans and those 4 types of beer cans are basically all it accepts. So for the most part, all your recycling has the same thing done to it. It gets thrown in the garbage can, the garbage bag goes in your garbage container outside. Garbage guys pick it up, they bring it to the dump, they throw it at the dump, they set it on fire. So your cans get set on fire. And with the amount of beer that's going on up here and the fact that there's a can shortage, it's kind of crazy to think about the fact that it's all just burnt.
No, they get crushed first and then they get burnt. The machine crushes.
No, those ones don't get burnt. Those ones get shipped south. The ones that get burnt are the ones that just go in the garbage. But it's actually crazy to me that they don't make a deal with NIAS or whoever does the co-op sealift to do a backhaul of all the metal, because there is a dump that is filled with vehicles and everything else. The amount of money that could be made in scrap if you could make a deal with one of the shippers to bring the stuff back, because I know Nunavut has that. There's a lot of communities where the shippers will ship back recycling for free, and then that money gets sent back to the community to do things for the community. Well, it would be amazing for the communities if they could do that, because it would not only clean up their water supply and clean up their environment, but it would give them money to do things in the community. And the amount of just metal between fuel tanks, between vehicles, between everything, the amount of car batteries, the amount of wheels and tires and hubcaps, the amount of stuff that could be shipped back and make loads of money. Hell, it could even be a job. Drop off a couple sea canisters by the dump, and like somebody has to go and like fucking separate everything. There's a job right there. It's insane the amount of money that's available in that stuff. But again, the shipping matters, right? You got to ship it back, so you need to have a deal. And again, the deals happen. You just have to do the footwork to make the deals happen.
Did someone pee in here?
You peed in here.
I didn't pee in here.
Gizmo would drink a beer.
Look here, show your subscribers my amazing artwork.
To answer your question, Brian, yes. We won't go into the type of shipments we're talking about, but yes, it happens. What are you doing?
Show your subscribers.
How much TV?
No, the world needs to see it. Okay, yeah, look artist. That's her back. The ugly side of the back.
Ugly side is usually the back. We also have a whole bunch of. I also have a whole bunch of hot stuff here that we have to review over the next little while. This is a box of stuff from different hot sauce places. We have Little Nitro, which is a 9 million Scoville unit gummy bear. We have the Toe of Satan, which is a 9 million Scoville unit sucker. We have Ghost Pepper candies. We have bacon peanut brittle. We have Ghost Pepper peanut brittle. Ghost Pepper peanut brittle. So we have a lot of interesting stuff. We have like watermelon, Ghost Pepper
Fresh
candy.
cola mango. Why is your cup in here?
That was my drinking cup. You like black licorice?
Oh, I see you got candy.
We have bacon gumballs.
Here, Ghost pepper brittle?
Yes, we're going to talk about Ghost Pepper brittle.
No, you said bacon. What's this?
That's what I'm looking for. Give
It
that.
doesn't have a name.
It is. My pipe. Go watch TV with your mom.
No. And she was thinking I'm too loud.
You are too loud. You're in here being too loud. There's my pipe. There's my pipe. Well, Ryan, I'm glad you enjoy. That's all that matters. Gizmo, stop biting his broken paw. Gizmo, leave his broken paw alone. He's going to start crying. Come here. Gizmo. No, I didn't call you, Gimpy. Rest your paw. Rest your paw, idiot. I know. Rest your paw. Rest your paw. It's okay. You're not who I called. Be careful. You're going to hurt yourself again. Don't look so sad. You're okay. No, you're not getting my licorice. No, you're not getting my. No, you're not getting my licorice. And Gizmo left. He's who I called, and you made him leave. Gizmo, come here. Oh, good boy. Good boy. No, 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 no.
You know, when I came to ask you for putting the sheets on the bed, because I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Are you still watching your show?
No, I'm coming to
Really?
bed.
Because it sounds like the show's
And
on.
I was expecting sheets to be on the bed. That's why I came and asked you if you were doing it.
Remember how I said she was going to bitch at me around 11? Well, apparently it's 10:30.
Not around 11. It's 11 o'clock. It's
Bye,
not
guys.
10:30. Learn to tell the time. You just got